the church Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing this wonderful, shiny in California Monday? Is everyone having a shiny of a day as we are having for ourselves, you guys? Hello, Joe. Hello, Jen. Hello to all of you. Grounded for Truth. Hi. Mena. Amanda. All of you guys. Not that Helen is here in the house. Kenya. Helicopter. Hello, hello to everyone, you guys. So we are going to continue asking, like we do every single day of the week here, you guys, what in the literal hell is Scientology so afraid of? And in this live critique, we're going to take on part 2 because we couldn't get through that one article from the Tampa Bay Times, you guys, yesterday, which was, you know, it was fun. It was fun to go through and really revisit history, right? Because let's not forget, you guys, that article was historical AF. That article was lauded as the truth is finally coming out of the hotel. And, you know, literally me, you guys, back in the day, I thought it was very revolutionary because the Tampa Bay Times did break the news on stuff that I had no shred of a clue was going on. You know, like when we tell you we thought these executives were infallible, that could not commit a single wrong thing for themselves, literally, that is how we really thought they were, you guys, at the time. But we're finding out that they were all just into beating each other in trailers, subjecting themselves to disgusting abuse, and all for the pleasure of David Miscavige is where the story went. So while we're not pushing back on that, since that we were not inside of those trailers where they were all doing whatever in the hell it is that they alleged that they were doing between themselves, we will contextualize what we do know about all the other parts that are not making a shred of sense. So we're going to continue to confront the Tampa Bay Times article exposing the stark contrast between the portrayed leadership of David Miscavige and the harsh realities hidden within the walls of Scientology. The article chronicles incidents of physical abuse, manipulation, and the cultivation of toxic environment within the organization, while in an article delves into the mistreatment of high-ranking executives like Marty Rathbun and Mike Rinder. It conspicuously omits a crucial aspect: the impact on innocent children ensnared within the folds of Scientology. Just very conspicuous, you guys. Despite vivid descriptions of Miscavige's alleged violent outburst and the oppressive atmosphere, there is a glaring omission on these pervasive abuses that were perpetrated against minors. And I encourage everyone on the chat to check out Helicopter's last video she did. A very, very, very powerful interview with Bianca, another kid that grew up in Scientology, another kid that I personally know, another kid that was able to come up with the strength to literally set the record straight on Debbie Cook, someone that as a minor was assigned to be her slave. Debbie Cook didn't call it slave, you guys. She called her program's operator. So these executives, you guys, including but not limited to Debbie Cook, all they had to do is call us a name, and all of a sudden we weren't slaves. All of a sudden, oh, I'm not your slave, I'm your program's operator. Oh, I'm not your slave, but they did call us juniors. So don't forget that. They were our senior and we were their junior. So please do check out that interview, because Bianca really contextualizes what in the literal hell was being allowed to be done inside of those hotels day in and day out. And she talks about the Cadet Org. I mean, we're having more and more and more stories corroborating what is going on inside of those Cadet Orgs. The literal Quality Inn, okay, you guys, because that's where it was. The Cadet Org, again, with the big names. Cadet Org, oh yeah, is a literal Quality Inn, a hotel, motel, not even hotel. Like the Fort Harrison was nice and fancy, you guys, but you know, the QI, Quality Inn, was roach infested, was mold infested, was dilapidated AF. You know, and don't get it twisted, you guys. You know, Debbie Cook was really pressed to, you know, renovate. But you know what she wasn't pressed to renovate? Bingo. The Quality Inn motel, she didn't give a shred of an F. But you know, they did have another really rundown, disgusting motel that they renamed the Yachtsman. And that one was being renovated so that, you know, Scientologists that are not so rich have, you know, accommodations, a lot of motel where they can stay so they can really get serviced. Isn't that great, you guys? So you can literally just take yourself to Clearwater, Florida, literally walk into the Fort Harrison Hotel and pay to get serviced by minors. Service. That's what we think. Go service that public. Go service him. What did that service entail? Well, including but not limited to massages that they called nerve assist, touch assist, in literal massage tables that are inside of each hotel room. So imagine you go into a converted hotel room, there's no bed, there's just a desk and a big fat chair, and then a massage table right next to it. Oh, and let's not forget the cameras on top. Every single motel room wired with cameras that at the time, you guys, they called it the looking system. We really need to look. We really, really do need to look. And we are really talking about all of those details that are missing in the narrative of what was going on inside of these hotels. Because yet again, you know, we really do know all manner of things that Marty Rathbun and Mike Rinder suffered at the hand of David. We really do have that info, but no other info. So the narrative highlights the erratic decision-making of Miscavige, his penchant for changing plans, and the detrimental effect on the growth of Scientology. Because that's how, you know, that's how these people saw it. It's like, if only David wouldn't have been the chairman of the board, if only we would have been the, you know, the board members, then, you know, we would have all figured out how to get along. It's only because David was so unhinged that none of us could get along. And then we did end up kicked out in the street with nothing. But in what world were the co-founders? In what world were the full-blown members that propped up L. Ron Hubbard's sham, you guys. And I know they want to blame everything on either David Miscavige or sort of L. Ron Hubbard. It's sort of like David. And yeah, David, if only we would have followed the policies that L. Ron Hubbard really did right for himself. But, all of those policies were supposed to die in the grave with L. Ron Hubbard, you guys. And these people went in there with their little shovel and go, let's dig out L. Ron Hubbard out of his grave, you guys, because he really did come up with amazing ideas that are going to make us all rich. We're going to own hotels all over the world. We're going to travel with our entourage of slaves that are all minors. Bianca, go get me the senior has right now. We need to interrogate a child that was just found to be doing out to these. Isn't that great, you guys, that, one of these executives could just be like yelling at their slave like that, and the slave had to immediately locate whoever in the hell Debbie Cook needed now. Because I think that's really, really great that we are really, getting to that next layer of this disgusting onion from hell. This literally disgusting, rotten with black mold, infested with the most disgusting parasites that you could ever find. Every layer we peel off, that's literally what comes out of this disgusting, depraved hotel. While decrying supposed flaws in their own publications, these self-proclaimed executives remain silent on the abuses carried out against all vulnerable minors, implicating themselves in a gross double standard, which is what in the hell is being called out. Mike Rinder and Marty Rathbun and Debbie Cook. It's a double standard. In what world do you spew everything about David, and in what world do you spew nothing about you? Because right about now, we would love to understand how in the hell that happens, Debbie Cook, since you were the captain FSO. You were the one that posted Bianca as your literal slave. Brought her from another country, you guys. Let's not forget, she came from Sweden. Isn't that great? Isn't that so great that you can just grab a child from Sweden? Then all of a sudden, they're stuck inside that hotel, and you can yell and scream at them and make them do whatever in the hell you want. Let's not forget, you guys, that Debbie Cook used to get little massages when she was stressed. Oh my God, I'm so stressed. I really need to get my personal masseuse in here. Bianca, go get her. Really go find her real quick. I don't want to wait. Don't make me wait. Don't waste my time. Go and get her and find her. And I need my massage. I'm Debbie Cook. I'm going to save the world. My God, you guys, seriously, with a straight face in their fake military uniforms, I'm gonna save the world. I need a massage. My fibromyalgia is really acting up, is what Debbie Cook would be going around telling everyone in the hotel. We all knew she had fibromyalgia. We all knew she was always in a bad mood because her fibromyalgia was flaring up. It's oh, guys. I mean, sometimes you really have to laugh at the stupidity of Debbie Cook now in hindsight. I mean, it's taken a lot of years to laugh, you guys. Trust. Taken a lot of years, but, good that we're laughing now, Debbie Cook, because you are laughing all the way to the bank while we are just laughing at your stupidity. Your utter stupidity, and you just sitting there cashing your little checks, making deals with Monique Yingling to really get paid as much as they can pay you, as if they care. They have, tons of money to just write checks indefinitely. But you know what? You're going to start to write other type of checks quickly. So hopefully you really have amassed a lot of money for yourself. Hopefully you really have. The article's selective focus underscores the urgency for a thorough, unyielding investigation into the rampant exploitation and endangerment of minors within these hotels. So just how you guys saw me yell and scream at the LAPD, you guys, to really start planting a seed right there. You know, you guys saw me at the protest. I was yelling and screaming at them. It's like, yo, 21 and under cannot consent. Yo, why in the hell are 21 and under implicated in this goddamn hotel? Because we do need to plant those seeds for them. Because once they start really analyzing the facts, really analyzing what it really means to make deals with, you know, people that are doing shady AF stuff. That's what the LAPD really needs to analyze for itself. Whoever in the hell the captain of the LAPD is really needs to go to a mirror and really double check and be like, am I really going to rely on Monique Yingling's license? Because she really did prop up a 501c that couldn't be more legitimate if she tried? Or am I really going to, you know, start looking at the newspapers, you guys? I mean, imagine the LAPD sees the pathetic Tampa Bay Times writing a headline, you know, which, I mean, maybe it's not their fault, you guys, because maybe the Tampa Bay Times, I mean, if you were the captain of the LAPD and you wrote the Truth Rundown Part 3 Ecclesiastical Justice, well, I guess the LAPD has a point, you guys, because, you know, why in the literal hell would they give an F about ecclesiastical justice? They're not supposed to have a shred of an opinion once the word ecclesiastical is invoked. So I guess that it's all it's taken for the LAPD people to really just be gullible AF, really compromise themselves, really take $20,000 checks on stage at Celebrity Center, living it up with Marisol Nichols, living it up with, you know, who else can you put us in touch with your celebrities? We would really need to do a podcast with them. We would really want to promote our book that we really did write for ourselves, Head of the Human Trafficking of the LAPD. So we already know what in the hell is going on. So let's really talk about this next part, you guys. Let's really get into it. So here we go. The best and the worst. Okay, you guys, already hang on to your literal seats and fasten your MF seat belt. So hopefully you don't fall off of your chair. One night before Christmas 1997. Isn't that great, you guys? Back in 97, Christmas, guess where in the hell I was? Bingo. Bingo, 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 bingo. I was in the literal RPF. So let's just really like think that for a second. I think I just was about to turn 18 on that Christmas, you guys. So, isn't that bad for me? I turned into an adult. You guys, and stuck in that hotel, locked up against my will on that Christmas. So that's where I was in Christmas 1997, locked up, literally being twinned with Marcus Ginter, the self-admitted, you know what in the hell we mean. So let's see what else. One night before Christmas 1997, Miscavige's wife, Michelle. Breaking news, you guys. Michelle. She's not Shelly. She's Michelle. Thank you, Thomas Sitoven, for, you know, that. It's pretty shocking. No one ever called her Michelle, but I mean, over here, she's Michelle. Little Shelly Miscavige took it upon herself to telephone Rathbun and Rinder. The leader wanted them to see them right now. Oh, you guys, you do not when I get a phone call. Yeah? Shelly Miscavige is on the other line. COB wants to see you. Come right now. Bye. That's the type of cold hard bitch Shelly Miscavige is, you guys. She wasn't like, blah, blah, blah. How are you? How's it going, Mike Rinder? Are you doing great? Are you having fun? Are you going up the OTs? Are you really climbing up a bridge? She really didn't give a shred of an F about neither Marty Rathbun nor Mike Rinder going up any bridges. David wants to see you now. Move. Get your ass here now. So little Shelly that is missing, and we don't know where in the hell she is, but she is front and center as a witness in these alleged crimes of beating up on each other, which is a crime, you guys. So no one should ever think for a minute that, just because all of these adults are beating each other, they're not committing crimes. But lucky for them, they did know that it was a crime. And lucky for us, Mike Rinder did tell us that whenever Marty Rathbun wanted to attack him and physically punch him, he was just doing it out of self-preservation. So that's really great to know that a crime was just self-preservation. And, as much as Scientology is going to pretend that, but maybe we didn't have a shred of a clue that was a crime. Well, how come anytime anyone has ever even just as much gone like this to a security guard, you guys, they're like, call the police, get him arrested. But isn't it great, you guys, that the Scientology people are so pressed right now as we're standing outside their centers, that they're sending rogue Scientology to go and spit. It's an arrest yesterday. The LAPD is having to do their job. Not great, you guys. They are actually now arresting Scientologists. Danny Masterson, the first one. Well, you know what? They got another one yesterday. They got another one yesterday for spitting. So yeah, Scientology, bring it the F on. Try and spit on us. We'll have you arrested faster than all of y'all's heads can spin. And since we do know that little Osa loves to lurk and check out what's going on, according to the memos of L. Ron Hubbard, according to, being proteges of Mike Rinder, who really did teach all his proteges, go and spy, go and break the law, go and break into someone's house. Here's the diagram on how you break in, you guys. And all of you that are in the community tab, go and check it for yourselves. Because, maybe Mike Rinder can really come and tell us all about how they were breaking into places. As we told you already, Mike Rinder, the only fair game that you've ever spoken about is the one you got caught with your pants literally on the floor about. So we don't give an F about what you've already been caught with. That doesn't count. That literally could not be more useless. We need to understand what type of break-ins you literally orchestrated for yourself, along with your proteges that are still there, Kathy Drew, Sarah Heller, Kristen Catano, Donatella, all the women that you empowered and posted in your office as the watchdog of whatever in the hell dog you were inside that office that you did fund for yourself. You founded it. You came to the rescue as L. Ron Hubbard. 11 people got indicted and convicted. And then all of a sudden, we're not the GO anymore, you guys. We're just the, what is it called? Oh, yeah, let's just call ourselves Office of Special Affairs, because I think that would never sound suspicious whatsoever. if we just call ourselves, we're handling special affairs, all of a sudden breaking into a place is just a special affair. So why is anyone having a problem with Mike Rinder funding the Office of Special Affairs if they can really, delve into all manner of affairs? All manner of affairs. So all of that would be really great to clear up once and for MF all. So there is Shelley telling them to really come right away. From different parts of the California compound, they jogged to his quarters. Not great, you guys. Like, they're just literally told you, snap and pop. You don't want to make David wait a second because he will lose his MF mind, you guys. No one is saying that David wouldn't lose his MF mind. So as much as the Tampa Bay Times did take it upon itself to print here all about how, as we just covered yesterday, and for those who didn't know, but Tampa Bay Times was provided with plenty of other executives that were counteracting what the hell Mike Rinder and Marty were pitching, and did say that David didn't do anything and he was great and he was wonderful, and they couldn't be more confused what in the hell these people are talking about. So jogging to where David was because they were scared AF. So we will give them that. They were real scared of what David would do because David did like to go rough on them. They say Miscavige bustled through the screen door in a terry cloth bathrobe. Okay, you guys, he wasn't wearing his military uniform. David Miscavige in his terry cloth bathrobe. Wonder if it was Versace. Versace bathrobe. David has his little Versace bathrobe, terry cloth, and without a word, he grabbed Mike Rinder around the neck, slapped him, lugged him, and then threw him against a tree. Interesting. Lapping him around the neck, slugged him, and then thrown against a tree. Does suck to be him. Rinder ended up in ivy, and much of his uniform and his lip were bleeding. And Miscavige led them to the office's lounge. And then he poured Mike Rinder a glass of scotch and said that it would make him feel better. Interesting, you guys. So great that, he was doing aftercare on Mike Rinder. Oh, yeah, I just beat you up. Oh, yeah, you just consented to be my slave. Oh, yeah, I treat you like shit and I don't give an F. But nothing like a little aftercare. Here's your little scotch. No felonies committed if you consent to that level of stuff, you guys. But apparently he didn't consent. So apparently he is pressed about it because he did go to the paper and forgot all about everything else that he ever did in that hotel. And this was very traumatizing incident. His attention got stuck in the incident is what they called it in Scientology, you guys. Oh, your attention is just stuck in an incident. So, okay, cool. So you're thrown against a tree by the man wearing the terry cloth robe. I wonder if he was wearing underwear, you guys. Was David Miscavige wearing underwear? Put it in the chat if you think that David Miscavige was wearing underwear or was he just naked? Throwing Mike around all over the place. Mike Rinder, twice his size, you guys, because, at least if he would have been a tall, big man and, Mike Rinder was 5'4", then it would look different. But this picture that we're having for ourselves. You're like, damn, there's a spicy little 5'4" man really running around in a terry cloth robe with little Shelly Miscavige just sitting there looking and seeing like, oh, this is about to get good. Let me grab my popcorn. Oh, okay. And step at the tree. Okay, cool. But you know what? We did give him scotch. So he did end up getting scotch. He did end up getting some aftercare, you guys, to really, placate the wounds. And here he goes. The leader of Scientology turned and walked towards his quarters. People would flinch when Miscavige walked by, the Vox said. So after beating him, doing all of that, giving him his little scotch, he was like, okay, I'm done. Done for tonight. I'm good. You know, little Davy got off in his little robe. He got to beat other adults that let him. And then he just retired to his quarters. So I wonder if Shelly and him had any kind of 2D activity after that, because that would be great to find out from Shelly. And only Shelly would know what type of out 2D or 2D activity. They were married, you guys. Don't forget, they were married. So that was an out 2D. Shelly and him could do a lot of things behind closed door that nobody would ever know about. So that's just like an interesting thing to really wonder about. So yeah, here comes Tom DeVocht again, you guys, the COCMO CW for years and years and years and years. The COCMO CW that had the most amount of underage kids, along with Angie Blankenship, you guys. Don't think it was only him. Oops, and along with Pilar Saldarriaga, you guys. That's why I always bring up her name. Because it was Pilar Saldarriaga, the COCMO. It was Angie Blankenship, the COCMO. And it was Tom DeVocht, the COCMO. They just flipped him around. For some years, it was Pilar. Then it was like, oh, then you're busted, Pilar. Then, oh, let's bring up Angie. And then, oh no, actually it was Pilar first. And then, oh, it was Tom DeVocht first, then Pilar, then Tom DeVocht, then Angie Blankenship. So the COCMOs are the most disgusting executives in Scientology that really need to get on the record real MF quick and start talking about the type of underage kids that were in y'all's organization, because y'all had the highest concentration. Concentration, you guys. It's like there is no other place in Scientology where you will find 100 kids all working together, because that's how much Angie Blankenship had for herself. So don't think it was just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 20 or 30 or 4. They got up to those numbers, you guys. You know, maybe some of them graduated from, 15 to 18. But, let's say cumulative, to be real fair to Angie. Real fair to her, that she did take it upon herself to recruit those minors and put them to work for herself. And you know what, Angie, why were you so pressed to find out every single way that children masturbate? Because you, Pilar, and Tom DeVocht should really get on the record about that. Should really get on the record, you guys. And what type of human resources requires to find out masturbatory habits of kids in order to really post them? Because you want to know about an insane woman who wasn't more obsessed with masturbation than anyone we've ever even heard of in our lives. Call up Angie Blankenship real quick. She got off on it. She literally got off on really data mining that information, really get it pulled, really find out how they masturbate. What do they think of when they masturbate? What kind of lotion do they use to masturbate? Is the type of details they were interested in. So what were you thinking about? What type of lotion do you use? How many times did you move your hand up and down? Your D or your V? They didn't discriminate, you guys. They liked it from girls. They liked it from boys. They liked it from any underage kid they could exploit and really hear about. So yeah, Angie Blankenship, you and Debbie Cook, little Miss Let's Cash Our Checks from Monique are, nowhere to be found today. Isn't that great, you guys? They're just la 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 dancing in the rain. So here Tom DeBach pitches that people would flinch when Miscavige walked in. And again, you guys, and Bianca spoke to this yesterday. We wouldn't just flinch. We were petrified. When any of these MFers were in your orbit, you knew that your already horrific life of enslavement and having a gun next to your head, because if you F up anything, you're going to get. So yeah, we were petrified, but what were we supposed to do? It's not like we could go, I'm really scared of Angie Blankenship. What did you do to Angie Blankenship? Angie Blankenship must have missed a lot of withholds on you. Let's interrogate you. Let's investigate you. Why are you complaining about her? How can you be critical of her? She's so great. She's so amazing. She's going to save the world herself. So that didn't age well at all, Angie Blankenship, because you weren't saving anyone by committing systemic felonies. So just to literally wipe off the smirk of all of these executives, you guys, that really did say, but I really did think L. Ron Hubbard told me that we were really going to save somebody. I mean, in what world can you be committing full-blown felonies in plain sight, all full knowing, all full recording it, all having it on video, all telling on yourselves, all putting all that information there for yourselves? And you really want to tell the whole world with a straight face that you had no shred of a clue about anything it was. So that's how routine it was. Tom DeBach says his whole entire outlook was everybody was out to get him. Uh-oh, you guys. David Miscavige is real scared in his terry cloth bathrobe, beating Mike Rinder and shoving him in a tree, because he was scared that someone was going to get him. I guess he was having some of that diluted, deranged daddy syndrome from L. Ron Hubbard, right? Very similar to L. Ron Hubbard, very, very pressed, very, very paranoid. The CIA is everywhere. The FBI is everywhere. Everyone's going to come and get me. Well, I guess little David Miscavige did have a lot of miswithholds, you guys. And don't forget, miswithholds is the things, the secrets that you don't want known that are almost maybe found out. So these videos, you guys, are literally missing every last shred of withhold of these executives. But lucky for us, and lucky for them too, because we're doing them a favor, you guys. We're unmissing their withhold. We're exposing the facts so that they can start dealing with the actual reality. Because remember, they're in a state of not confusion, you guys. L. Ron Hubbard said, you cannot ever go lower than confusion. The lowest ethical state you could ever possibly be is the state of confusion. Isn't that great, you guys? Well, yesterday in our research that we did also, like L. Ron Hubbard, we did pull it out of our literal ass. Another ethical thing that you could really get downgraded from that condition of confusion, L. Ron Hubbard, is this. You forgot to say there's a one lower than confusion. It's delusion. Delusion. That's the state that these people doing all of these crazy things and going to the Tampa Bay Times to sanitize their image real quick, launder it, throw Tide all over themselves. As long as you sprinkle a little Tide, you guys, I guess all the stains just wash away. Not great. We can just use a little Tide from the dollar store in a tiny little box and just, you don't even need a lot, you guys, because it's highly concentrated, especially if you get Tide of the Tampa Bay Times. If you get Tide from them, then you will literally be able to wash away your sins. very a la L. Ron Hubbard. Wash away your sins by, pitching whatever in the hell you want. So anything and everything anybody else touched was going to be screwed up. And he had to do it himself. He didn't trust anybody. So apparently David Miscavige also has trust issues, you guys, because he never knows who's going to betray him, and he never knows who is going to come and get him in that terry cloth bathrobe that he likes to use for himself when he beats grown men, Really must have gotten off on that, David Miscavige, beating men twice his size. Interesting. Scobie described working in her office cubicle along the wall of a large conference room. Miscavige was seated alone on one side of the table facing several staffers, including Jeff Hawkins. So I'm not paying attention, and all of a sudden, I see David Miscavige jump on top of the table. Oh my God, you guys. David Miscavige is just a spicy little jalapeno, just jumping up and down all manner of places. David Miscavige jumps on top of the table of the conference room table, Scobie said. He lunged at Hawkins, and she said that two of them landed at her feet. Miscavige stayed on top of him and was choking him and hitting him and grabbing his tie. Damn. Buttons were flying and change falling out of Jeff's pockets. Ooh, he did have a few coins for himself, you guys. Isn't that great that he can't claim he didn't get paid, because a few coins did just come out of his pocket. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. Interesting. Hawkins has spoken and written publicly about the 2002 incident. Church executive David Bloomberg tells a different story. Bloomberg says that he was seated next to Hawkins that day, and that Hawkins became belligerent with the leader. And Hawkins fell out of his chair and ended up putting scissors lock on Miscavige's legs. Oof, you guys. I'm sorry, need a little Let's really spray some rose water, you guys. That's better. That's much better. I think I need another one. Let's all take a deep breath. Okay. So a lot of men grabbing, choking on top of each other in scissors positions and terry cloth robes. And yeah, it almost sounds funny, you guys, but we cannot lose sight of the sickness that all of this represents, of the sickness of, imagine being our parents. Imagine them on the outside of the hotel really thinking to themselves, oh yeah, my child's gonna save the world. And I left them in the great hands of who these people say they are, you guys, because that is literally what in the hell we have to look for ourselves, right? Like, it's not like we just made it up, that they were all just crazy, deranged out of their minds. They have told on themselves. They have literally told them themselves. It's like they literally took a poop. They crapped their pants. And, I guess that's what they're considering. Their needle floated. Or I guess that's what they consider the problem ended because I left the threshold of a hotel. And all of a sudden, I'm not implicated. And all of a sudden, I didn't co-conspire. And all of a sudden, I couldn't be more of a naive lamb wanting to go frolicking around the pastures of, that little river place where they did get photographed by the Tampa Bay Times, and we did find that other little photo of Marty and Mike, stuck at the hip in the mountains. And this literally sounds like Brokeback Mountain from hell right here, you guys, what in the hell they were doing in all their terry cloth, commotions, climbing on top of each other, putting themselves in scissor legs. Okay, Mr. Miscavige did not touch Jeff Hawkins, Bloomberg says. At his best, Miscavige inspires staffers, Rathbun said, recalling times that the leader invoked a dispatch that Hubbard wrote in the 1980s. The planet's faith rests on the shoulders of a desperate few. Okay, guys. You guys have to see this for your MF selves so you don't think that I just literally pulled that quote out of my literal ass. I mean, literally, the planet's faith rests on the shoulders of the desperate few. Well, who's looking, sounding, and promoting themselves as the desperate, deranged adults that they all were. Bingo. They couldn't be more desperate. So L. Ron Hubbard was right about his proteges. Except that all it took was for L. Ron Hubbard to really make them feel special, to really like quell their little daddy issues that they have. So they just go, yeah, you couldn't be more special. Like the whole planet is depending on you and you couldn't be more desperate. And desperate they are, you guys, as per their own actions. This is not our opinion. This is literally the words that they spouted to Thomas C. Tobin, that with a full-blown straight face, without having a shred of a clue or critical thinking skills for himself, connected any kind of shred of dot other than satisfy his own thirst for David Miscavige info. So yeah, Thomas C. Tobin, tell us why you're so pressed to get so much of that David Miscavige info. Because I guess maybe that's because it sells, you guys. David Miscavige sells news. And, I guess Tampa Bay Times is having a hard time staying afloat. So whatever in the hell they can get their hands on, they will just, type a little quick one and shh. So Miscavige used to stir a sense of mission and make you feel special, Rathbun says. Oh, you guys. David was also making them feel special right here. Oh, yeah, we couldn't be more special. You're so special, Marty Rathbun. I mean, imagine what kind of tone was David speaking to these people to be beating them out of their mind. Everyone witnessed, everyone watched. I mean, as if we don't literally have it in their own words. Oh, yeah, he beat everyone up. It was such a common occurrence, says Tom DeVocht. But then he made us feel special, He just showed up with the aftercare. Not great, you guys, that they had a dom. Little David Miscavige was their dom. These grown adults were all his subs. And, as long as David Miscavige beat them and then told them that they were little, special little Thetans, then all of a sudden everything was... He just beat me, but he just told me I'm special. Aren't I so special? Oh, there's more. Literal quote from Marty Rathbun. He make you feel like you were really important, and that's why you would do stuff for him. Well, Marty MF Rathbun. Special. You would do all manner of special stuff, and that's why you would do it. So let's double check that. You are asked to do things that are illegal. You are asked to do things that are criminal, in your position. And then pretty soon you are doing it. Everyone else is doing these type of criminal activities. So for a chance to feel special, for a chance to get a little bone from their own little daddy figure, David Miscavige, who they are all so pressed to love and admire, and they couldn't wait to get beaten in the head, shoved to a tree by a man who would wear a terror cloth robe while he was doing all of this. We don't know yet, you guys, if he was wearing underwear. But, you know, as soon as we hear if he was wearing underwear, we'll tell you all. Because I think that really remains unknown at this point if, you know, he was beating them up, wearing underwear, was their dom, was the one that was allowed to do whatever in the hell he wanted. There were no boundaries for a very long time. They were real besties, all of these amigos. But then all of a sudden, David apparently did take a turn to the dark side. So, but the defector said that Miscavige's tendency to change plans, micromanage, and undermine the chain of command paralyzed the management team and stifled growth in the years before they left. You guys, L. Ron Hubbard's technology is not getting spread all around the world. And Miscavige is the one that's blocking and paralyzing them from doing their job in recruiting and grabbing for themselves more minors that they can enslave real quick in their sham 501c. Isn't that great, you guys, that they were so pressed and worried that Miscavige and his micromanaging was impeding them from, you know, getting distracted, because they really did love their jobs. Their jobs were great to do. Their jobs were awesome. And we have it in their own words, you guys. I'm not just pulling things. Debbie Cook, go check out her little interview. So how was it? Oh, I loved it. I was doing great. I was there for 17 years. And yeah, you know, David just at the end, you know, he's just like started putting us in trash cans. And, you know, I just couldn't stand for that. Not great that Debbie Cook liked to do more disgusting things to kids, because again, Debbie Cook liked them young. And David, you know, he did like them young too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, he didn't get Claire Headley not young. So let's just go with that literal receipt that we have right there. He couldn't wait to sink the claws into Claire Headley to make Claire Headley, literal Claire Headley, the third in command. So it was Dave, Shelley, and Headley. So they kind of adopted her, I guess. Like, you're a daughter. You can be as deranged as us. Let's really empower you to act deranged, out of your mind, unhinged, crazy. But, you know, we'll normalize it all for you because we will model this behavior after us. Just do as we do. Going back to our little, you know, quote from Jesse Prince, you guys. You are asked to do things that are illegal. You are asked to do things that are criminal. You are, you know, in your position, and then pretty soon you're doing it. And everyone else is doing these criminal activities. So, yeah, David, but, you know, David liked specific ones. So he would grab, oh, Valerie, let's grab her, that minor. Oh, you know, he was very highly selective because, you know, you couldn't really be selected to be anywhere near David unless you were really, really that good looking, that smart, that, you know, intelligent, because these people couldn't stand anyone that was dumb, you guys. So any dumb kid would die in a second. So you had to show them that you could do it. Otherwise, it was sink or swim. So David did grab a lot of kids, but no one grabbed more kids than Debbie Cook. No one on the record of Scientology existence except for Harvey Jakes, the one that took over from Debbie Cook. Once Harvey Jakes came in, he went on his own child abduction spree. But he's dead. He's literally dead. And Harvey Jakes, who knows? I wasn't there when he was there, thank God. Because he was more disgusting than Debbie Cook, some people have told me, but I guess that's alleged, you guys, because I wasn't stuck in the hotel there. So I wouldn't know. Alleged, Monique Yingling. I have no idea about anything to do with Harvey MF Jakes. But you would know, Monique. I'm sure you got CC'd on all manner of stuff. So maybe you want to come and tell us and share some of the real information. Not about how you were providing towels and heated pools for people to be thrown overboard. Okay. The article continues. Rathbun said that Miscavige repackaged all Scientology books and services and marketed them to parishioners as must-have new products. He cited that the church's recent blitz urging members to buy new versions of the basic books, a collection of Hubbard books that are the foundation of Scientology. In 2007, Miscavige told Scientologists who had bought and studied the books for decades that the volumes were flawed and that the whole passing, missing, out of order, and written by editors, and no wonder people complain about not being able to understand them. The leader said the church put the volumes in their proper state and was selling them anew. Said Rathbun, he's telling parishioners, you know, and I don't know if you guys know if this was Joe Childs or why in the hell is this, you know, a little comma here? Because it sounds like Rathbun said he's telling literally to their faces, but Joe Childs literally put that little parishioner in there to, you know, because again, you guys, as long as they say ecclesiastical parishioner ad nauseum, then they're really being a very balanced situationship, right? So he's telling them literally to their faces, you don't understand the first thing about Scientology because you couldn't possibly have, because the books were so screwed up. The 18 volumes now set for $450, down from 1986 price of $738. Davis, the church spokesman, describes the reworked collection as a sensational development, a historic recovery of Hubbard's work, comparable to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Oh my God, you guys. I mean, you're seeing what I'm saying, right? I'm not reading this wrong. Literal spokesperson of Scientology saying that the recovery of Hubbard's work was comparable to the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Ooh, you guys. So just as long as you quickly compare anything to anything, then you're all of a sudden in Dead Sea Scroll land, because this was all very so religious. Said Yingling, the church attorney, it was received with such joy by the Scientology public at large. Oh, you guys, Monique. Oh, Monique. Your toxic muffin, Monique, attorney at law, you guys, says that the Scientology public at large, I would know, you guys, I can attest to this. I was there when they were releasing this sham. I was locked up against my will. I wasn't even in the Sea Org anymore, you guys. Not even in the Sea Org anymore. Like literally, I went to the event when all of this got released because we were told, oh my God, we really have figured it all out, you guys. It's really going to make a lot of sense to you. And I remember sitting in that event and I was going like, what? You know, David Miscavige, we took up all those commas. We found all these commas that were misplaced, you guys. And I was like, commas? Like, what? The commas? Imagine that with all the edits and re-edits, you guys, apparently that little part about Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard really pitching to his proteges that kids, 7-year-olds, can be seduced by adults at 7 and like to be kissed passionately and have no shred of problem with that. And if they do have a problem, then really find out what is the problem with that 7-year-old. Apparently that didn't make the edit because proteges of L. Ron Hubbard aren't allowed to take out stuff that L. Ron Hubbard wrote. They don't have the MF rank. Not even David in a terror cloth beating someone against a tree. David doesn't have that rank, you guys. He had the rank to grab Mike Rinder and throw him against a tree, but he doesn't have the rank to, supersede what in the hell L. Ron Hubbard wrote. Isn't that great? And here, Yingling says that they're received with a lot of joy, those books. Well, thank you for that, Monique. I'm sure that those books are, providing a lot of joy for you as you cash your little checks for yourself, as if it's not your client, as if you're not being paid to say what in the hell you're saying, Monique. And yes, all of attorneys get paid to say what in the hell they're going to say. Completely fair. Attorneys, you can advocate for your clients. We're not saying don't advocate for them, but I don't know about you guys, but I think Monique is like taking it a little far. We digress, you guys. I think we spent too much time on Yingling. Rathbun, DeVocht, and Scobie said that they were privy to weekly internal data reports that showed a gradual decline in key statistics, including value of church services delivered and the number of auditing hours and courses completed. You guys, this is literally, I kid you not, yeah. This little nugget that Thomas C. Tobin did print for himself, not knowing what in the hell he was printing, is just, let me really type. And then all of a sudden, we have this diamond. Rathbun, DeVocht, and Scobie said they were privy to weekly internal data reports, you guys, and that couldn't be more important to highlight. And them telling themselves, they're on the record telling on themselves now, right? Because these data reports, you guys, again, telling always part of a withhold, but not the rest. Part of the withhold is that these reports really talked about the statistics and the audits and all of that, but those reports were deep AF, including but not limited to, right, Mike Rinder? Who went out to D this week in your org? What handling was done? Who was implicated? Who else found out about it? What type of evidence did we gather? Because that also went on a weekly report to all of these people. You guys, all of these people that got these reports, management reports from all around the world. So they don't only know about the things that happen in Clearwater. They don't only know about the things that happen in literal Celebrity Center, where, too bad they didn't really cough up to what is in those reports, because they only said about, the decline of key statistics, including the value of church services delivered and the auditing hours. And, it's not aging too well for them, you guys, because the statistics of well done auditing hours is what in the hell we're calling the main problem. These people have not given a shred of wanting to come and forward and really repudiate. Like, in what world were you, we're not locking up enough people against their will and, torturing them for profit. We really need to do something. Miscavige going out of his mind is really distracting us from wanting to sink our claws into more people. So all of a sudden, the statistics of audits is really what they went with to Thomas C. Tobin. If only David wasn't so unhinged, the statistics wouldn't have declined. We would have been able to continue focusing on grabbing more kids off the street, shoving them in rooms, interrogating them ad nauseum, and pretending that we couldn't be more religious. So that has not aged well. And then here, you guys, value of church, again. Thomas C. Tobin Why in the literal hell are you so pressed to say the word church, ecclesiastical, parishioner ad nauseum nonstop? In what world does a church have a value of services delivered, you guys? And before you get too confused, Debbie Cook would set targets to anyone who delivers the technology. They're called BSD targets, you guys. BSD. Give it up to Scientology for acronyms. Value of services delivered. So this statistic is exactly connected to if you do a course, you get what? One little tiny stupid ass L. Ron Hubbard course where you will practice medicine without a license, where you will practice law without a license, where you will, get a certificate, and all of a sudden you will be a know-it-all of all, $10K. So these courses couldn't be more expensive, literally $10K for one course. Well, that's the value of services delivered. If somebody completes that course, then all of a sudden, we can take the $10K, and now the $10K are delivered. We don't owe you shit. You can ask for a refund. You really did get part of the scam, but didn't you get a great certificate out of it? So those are the value of services delivered. And in what world, Debbie Cook, would love to hear from you why we were getting targets of make me $100,000 this week, or else you're washing dishes. I really need to get my VSD up. That's what Debbie Cook said ad nauseum, you guys, because that was one of Debbie Cook's big statistics, value of services delivered. Imagine she's the top of the hotel. She's the one that's running everything. She's the one that has to impress David with the statistics. Oh my God, David, look what I've done. I'm Debbie Cook. I'm so wonderful. And all of a sudden, look at my statistics. They were here before, and I've made them go up, 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 up. Aren't I so upstat? Aren't I so protected, David? And yeah, for a long while, Debbie Cook was protected AF, you guys. For a long while, they loved her. She really held the fort. Harrison Hotel. The Fort Harrison. These are statistics that are supposed to matter, Rathbun said. All that stuff has been going down. You guys, I'm sorry, I had to distract myself for a second. The statistics were supposed to matter a lot, and matter they did, you guys. If you're not worth anything to Scientology unless you're bringing something to the table. And every week, you're expected to bring your quota to the table. So whatever in the hell they tell you to produce that week, it's up to you to figure it out. If Debbie Cook tells you, make me $100,000, you can say, but Debbie Cook, I don't think I can even make 30. Are you giving me, a senior executive, a problem? You want to be a problem? You don't want to make things go right? What's wrong with you? You don't want to make things go right? You don't want to have the technology of L. Ron Hubbard expanding across the seams of planetary expansion? So no child that was given a quota, including but not limited to $100,000 of delivery of services, of value of services delivered, that Marty Rathbun is so pressed that the statistic was coming down. And I guess Amy Scobie too. Couldn't be more pressed and disillusioned that those statistics were going down. And that's what L. Ron Hubbard, their little daddy figure, did tell them. Never let the statistics go down, you guys. Couldn't be more perilous for Scientology to literally have crash statistics. In fact, anytime the statistics are down, all the slaves will be punished AF until they make it go up. So even if you make $100,000 one week, they'll be like, Debbie Cook, oh my God, you made $100,000. You made your quota. You're so great. And then the next week, you made her 10,000. So there is no more perilous place for a child, you guys, in this organization than doing this. Imagine, you were so, Here they're getting reward. Oh, your stats are really going up. But then if one day you don't work, it crashes. You crash your statistics? You a stat crasher? You crash your statistics? Really? That's what you're going to do to this organization? That's what you're going to do to L. Ron Hubbard? That's how you're going to thank L. Ron Hubbard for having wanted to really write all these policies that really are saving us? You thank us with crashing your statistics to make us wrong. So yeah, crashing of statistics is a thing that these executives couldn't be more pressed about, that these executives couldn't wait to tell Thomas C. Tobin how they could not be more literally disgusted with the fact that isn't Scientology being put at risk because L. Ron Hubbard is not being followed. DeVos described Miscavige's decision-making as erratic. He said that the leader often changes course, resulting in situations like Scientology's multi-million-dollar superpower building in downtown Clearwater. The mammoth structure, finished on the outside, has sat vacant for 6 years. After repeated design changes, work on the interior restarted this month. Davis and Yingling trumpet Scientology's worldwide expansion. The past 5 years, the church has acquired 80 properties, 3 new churches called orgs. Churches called orgs, hotels. They're very, very proud that they acquired 80 properties, you guys, on the backs of minors. So right about now, Monique Yingling and all Scientology executives and all Scientology parents that donated your kids to this, because turns out that all those properties have been bought. Let's say including but not limited to all the child slave labor that they have taken upon themselves to prop up for themselves, you guys. Going back to having to clear what they have spent 30 plus years obscuring. L. Ron Hubbard, the degenerate they all worshipped, was underground. They went back for him, resuscitated him out of that disgusting hole. And for over a decade plus, spent time with all manner of Yinglings and all her little cohort council people that really want to counsel, that really want to get paid a ton of money. But apparently, you know, they are nowhere to be found advising their client, their reckless AF client, their complete unhinged clients, because, you know, Marty Rathbun was all up in there. Mike Rinder was all up in there. And so was David. So co-founding all of this BS, and, you know, they can't rein it back. So hooray, hooray that we're having 80 empty buildings built on the back of minors. Buildings that make no shred of sense, Monique. If you cannot even have up statistics, you would even know that stupid ass term, Monique. Don't play dumb. If you don't even have the statistics to have a 100,000 square foot rotting commercial building, since you haven't built a shred of a church, you build commercial buildings, Monique. You and your little idiotic, infantile clients that have been paying you to really teach them the law, to really counsel them. Not great, you guys, that little Monique Yingling is the counselor, the legal counselor of Marty Rathbun, of Mike Rinder, of David Miscavige. All right, you guys, is this real life? We got into the next chapter. Is this real life? Oh, I think we need Is this real life? Question mark. That's exactly what in the hell we're asking ourselves right now, you guys. In what world was any of this real life? They called it the hole. For months, the small building at the California base was like a prison for more than 30 of the highest ranking officers in the Sea Org, you guys. Wow. Isn't that great? Going back to the point of our parents leaving us with the executives. Because, turns out that the 30 of the top high rankies, top, they're all in a prison. Was like a prison. So why in the literal hell are the top 30 people in a prison? They could leave only once a day for a shower. Otherwise, they stayed put. Food was brought in. They slept on the floor. Men around the conference table. Women in the cubicle and small offices ringing the room. Well, isn't that great, you guys, that they did separate the men and the women? That's so great. Because don't forget, they were very pressed that no one would literally F themselves. We're not kidding. That is literally the reason that they're separating the men and the women so they don't end up sleeping with each other in that jail that they're all in. Because believe you me, if you literally effed someone there, oh, you would never hear the end of it, you guys. You would literally never hear the end of it. They will all have their way with you for sure. So there they are, 30 of them sleeping on the floor. Miscavige called a meeting at odd hours, 2 a.m., 4 a.m., day after day. The exhausted executives puzzled through management structure at the pricing system of church services, trying to guess what their leader wanted. Well, isn't that great, you guys, that the exhausted executives were so puzzled and we're really trying to figure out what in the literal hell does David actually want? He rejected their ideas, cursed them, branded them suppressive persons. Isn't that great, you guys? All of us suppressives, and they were suppressives too, who put the church at risk. Risk. What kind of risk are they putting the church in? What kind of risk? What kind of legal risks did you save the church from, Mike Rinder? Because that would be a very great place to start your OW write-up. I mean, your affidavit to the FBI Crimes Against Children unit. That would be a very, very great place to start. What type of legal risks did I end up hedging? And then what type of MO, what type of SOP, you guys, another little Scientology word for y'all. So we really learn all this technology that L. Ron Hubbard really wants to teach us to really go free and save the entire planet ourselves, you guys. Literally, SOP, standard operating procedure. Not great that all they had inside of those hotels was SOP. Just do the SOP. Just do the SOP. That's how they talk to each other. What's the problem? Just do the SOP. Why are you even asking me this? That's not SOP. So SOP, little L. Ron Hubbard, loved that little word for himself. So sometimes Miscavige would let someone out of the hole or throw in someone else. Rinder says that he was there from the start. Oh, so Mike Rinder, founding member of the hole. Well, thank you. Now we can really have that information for ourselves. Who was a founding member of the whole? Mike Rinder was. From the very, very start of the start of the adult whole, you guys, don't forget that everything they're describing, they did to children. inside the versions of the holes that they were running. But as long as you don't call it hole, as long as you call it Rehabilitation Project Force, they couldn't be more different. They couldn't be more, oh, but that's not what we were doing. And all it was, you guys, is again, the slave masters that control all the slaves, that send the slaves to the hole, got pressed when they got put inside a version of a hole where there were no kids, but they were, just surrounded by adults. And they had no given an F about shoving kids with other adults because we're going to rehabilitate them. That's what Debbie Cook said. Oh my God, we're not putting you in a hole. We're rehabilitating you. We're giving you a chance to shine again and really redeem yourself. So everyone, sometimes Miscavige would let someone out of the hole, throw someone else. Rinder says he was a founding member. In January 2004, Miscavige added the Vogt to the mix. Oops. So there's the Vogt, COCMO, Clearwater in the mix. Everyone gathered around the table. He's throwing things, yelling at people, beating people up, the Vogt, remember. It was a weirdo scene, let me tell you. Well, let me tell you, Tom the Vogt, y'all were running a similar weirdo scene of your very own. So another little Scientology word that we're all going to learn for ourselves today, you guys, so that, so we really can talk to these people in their own language because, that way they really know the definition and they cannot play dumb. And that little word for us today, you guys, is similar overt of your own. Okay? So just how the word sounds, how the phrase sounds, you guys. Do you have a similar overt of your own? So if you go, David Miscavige really stuck us in a trailer and we really, really were oppressed and we really, really were abused and so many bad things happened to us and you couldn't even believe how horrible it was for us in there. So yeah, do you have a similar overt of your own, Tom the Vogt? Did you ever do that to anyone else by chance? Anything similar? Doesn't have to be the exact same thing. So that would be a great place for you to start, Tom the Vogt, your OW write-up. Your affidavit to the Crimes Against Children Unit. And this is what the Crimes Against Children Unit at the FBI would love to hear about in an affidavit form so they can actually do something with it. So don't just show up there and, ask me stuff and I'm just going to, answer whatever I want because I know you all have to be very careful with us because, even though we mercilessly interrogated kids without a shred of concern, all of these executives want goo goo gaga gloves for them when they get interrogated by the authorities because we've never been found guilty of any crimes. Well, no, because y'all have Mike Rinder to thank for that. Including but not limited to Mike Rinder's office to thank for that. Including but not limited to all of Department 3 of Debbie Cook's FSO, Ethics Department, to thank for that. So similar overts and withholds of their own is what all of these executives are filled to their literal foreheads with, you guys. As much as they purport David was unhinged, we didn't have terry cloth bathrobes that we could beat people up. Well, great. Write yourselves a success story about how you didn't have a terry cloth bathrobe to beat people up. And that's where you're pressed. Because that's what it's giving. It's giving, I'm jealous AF that I didn't have that level of power over others. And I did have that power of level of others, except that there was somebody that was more powerful than I as an adult. And I found myself, not liking it when it was done to me as a full-grown consenting adult that you all were. by this time. Because yes, you guys, they were all young little whippersnappers once upon a time. But these young little whippersnappers turned into middle-aged men in their 50s before they ever walked out of the hotel. Isn't that great? So yeah, for all the people that have had to go push back about how, well, don't you know that Mike Rinder was also a child and la, 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 la. Go GTS real quick. If child trafficking rings ever recruit underage kids and then those kids become adults and then those kids literally turn into felons and then they have to pay the price. And yeah, believe it or not, the court, the judges will weigh your past. It's called judging. Oh, okay. So you were brought in as a child by L. Ron Hubbard, Shelley Miscavige. So you had no shred of a clue, but you did commit a million, trillion, zillion other felonies afterwards until you were 60 years old. Okay. Well, instead of giving you 500 years in prison, we'll give you 100. Okay. So here's your little sentence. We really did take into account that you got in there as a child. But we also took into account that you were part of the executives that were lying to Monique, that were lying to all of the attorneys about what in the hell you were doing inside. So that is also being taken into account. Everything is being taken into MF account. Everything. Lucky for them. Everything is going to be taken into account on Judgment Day. On Judgment Day, everything without leaving anything out. All right, so then it goes into later that month, Miscavige threw a bigger name in the hole, Marty Rathbun. Marty Rathbun, big name that he was. The leader told the others not to listen to a word Rathbun said. He was not to be trusted. I know you all have come to respect this guy over the years. But he is the guy that's fucked me up. Allegedly, that's what they were briefed on when David Miscavige threw his little bestie in there. Don't forget, Marty Rathbun, co-founder of the sham 501c, to really prop up hotels all over the world so they could literally act with impunity without a shred of accountability or oversight. He's the genius that David really tells all the executives that you've all come to really trust and respect. So a few days earlier, Rathbun says Miscavige had pushed his head against a wall and slapped him hard across his left ear for not being tougher on the staff. He figures that must be what landed him in the hole. Okay, you guys, let's dispel this little fantasy that is being written by Thomas C. Tobin. Marty Rathbun literally unhinged, deranged without a shred of common sense to himself. Never had to be reined in from being that. To any child that I personally observe him interact with and be with. He was exactly what Tommy Davis says, a tough son of a bitch. A tough son of a bitch. They were all tough sons of bitches. And proud to be tough sons of bitches. So proud about it. But you know, when they did go with this little Thomas E. Tobin, they were like, how do we soften our image? Okay, well, let's really go with, I had just not been hard enough on the staff. Good one, Marty Rathbun. Good one. good one. That's a really good one. I mean, I think that really, festers the bubbles that you're trying to really cleanse your image with. The building consisted of small offices and a conference room tucked into two double wide trailers. When Miscavige tramped the door corridor, the hollowness of the floor made a clunk, clunk, clunk sound. Oh, you guys. Nothing like the clunk, clunk, clunk of a 5'4", tiny 5'4" little, to really like, oh my God, I wonder if it's in his terror cloth this time, or if he's really coming dressed to beat us up with, because that was a very important information that we just learned today, you guys. Terror cloth, table hopping little jalapeno that really was like a little Chihuahua dog, just jumping everyone, just biting everyone, and all the big dogs that are literally 10 times their size of the Chihuahua could not have been more abused by the bites that the Chihuahua gave them. So Chihuahua. Fun fact, you guys, I was living in Chihuahua for a while because my grandparents were in Chihuahua. Isn't that great, Miscavige, that we would know firsthand what Chihuahua dogs sound like, since we literally lived in that state, and they told us about how Chihuahua dogs used to be like desert dogs and kind of like little, like they would go and make little holes, and that's why they're all nervous and all like that. So, starting to make sense, you guys. Starting to make a lot of sense right about now. 4 days into Rathbun's stay, the clunking signal Miscavige's arrival. So what happened when he arrived, you guys? Flanked as always by his wife. Oh, you guys. Boom, boom, boom. So for all of you that want to cradle and canoodle Shelly Miscavige, already the Tampa Bay Times, Thomas C. Toven, courtesy of Thomas C. Toven, has placed Shelly at the side of David at all times. So in what world is Ghislaine Maxwell, Shelly, that really is at the side of David, witnessing everything, following up everything, carrying out every order that she was given, like the robot that she signed up to be, like the robot that she was groomed to be as a child, but then turned 21 and then didn't give a shred of an F. Turned 30, didn't give a shred of an F. Turned 40, didn't give a shred of an F. Turned 50, didn't give a shred of an F. Turned 60, didn't give a shred of an F. And why is she not found? Why is she not being produced? Why does the LAPD purport to really have found her, purport to really have talked to her, purport to really have found the missing person that we've all been looking for over a decade, only to not ask her a shred of a question relevant to anything that needs to be known? The only reason that it matters that she's alive is because she can be a contributing witness to what in the hell she's done. And all the FBI would have to do is grab a few files for themselves. Oh, look, Shelly, you did right here that you approved Serge to leave the RPF in 1997. Isn't that great that we have little Shelly Miscavige's signature? Shelly Miscavige. Because when she signed my CSW to leave the RPF, you guys, she was fully briefed on the pedo that I had been so-called redeeming. She was fully briefed on that, because in my own handwriting is what she was reading through. She was presented with all the banker's boxes. That's how you got out of the RPF by really giving them the banker's boxes, by putting all this evidence together. It's like you have to like make a case for yourself. So since Shelley, the top of the top of the top, next to David, that everybody was worshiping as if she was some sort of, Ghislaine Maxwell glorified on crack and steroids because, she didn't have to rein in anything at any hotel or anything. They weren't pressed to be found out because, they were very careful. They weren't like Jeffrey and Ghislaine just like living it up, being completely out of their minds without covering their ass. They were always looking for a way to cover their ass legally and everywhere else, like legally, hotel-wise, room-wise, people that could watch, people that are not allowed to watch because you don't have the rank to watch this, but you do have the rank to watch that. So Shelley had the rank and she was literally stuck to the foot of that terry cloth beating upper, throwing adult grown men 3 times his size into trees. So that's great. Oh, who took notes? Isn't that great, you guys? She took notes, an assistant with a recorder so that everything the leader said could be transcribed and distributed across the base. Oh my God. We literally just were given another diamond and another jewel by you, Thomas E. Tobin. So credit when credit is due. Although Thomas E. Tobin just wrote that down like, okay, well, that's what happened. That's what I'm being told. That's what Marty and all of these people are telling me. So I'm going to really type it. So Shelley Miscavige, who really did take it upon herself to transcribe, did take it upon herself to record. I mean, the level of complicity these people have, it's like, where is their plausible deniability, you guys? Please. You guys that did live in the normal world, that might have a legal mind, please, by all means, advise AF. Even the criminal cartels, you guys, do not act this entitled and unhinged. Even they don't write notes. Let's really kill this person tomorrow. Let's really lock up and false imprison this other one. Even the cartels are not doing that. So, but Shelley was. Even Ghislaine Maxwell wasn't doing that. I mean, they were keeping notes about which girl came in and da-da-da-da-da. So they did get caught with that. But imagine, they are serving prison sentences from those documents being there. And, in what world are these people taking meticulous, copious recordings, video recordings, transcriptions, and then sending it to the entire across the base, you guys? As I've told you already many times, except I didn't have the corroboration to, thanks to Tampa Bay Times, we really do have it here. So just before anyone wants to give these executives the full benefit of the doubt, they could really, the ones that really want to tell us that they do have the benefit of the doubt. So in what world were you not being briefed on everything that was being recorded and transcribed? Because we were being briefed, you guys. When someone went out to D, when someone got essayed, lap of the century, you guys, guess what we found out today? Guess what we found out this week? Every Thursday at 2:00, there's a staff meeting that is held in these hotels, you guys. When I was there, it was Debbie Cook's staff meeting that we had to go every Thursday. I think it started at 9:00. Mandatory. There's no way anyone can miss it. It's the most mandatory AF thing you have ever attended to. The first part of the staff meeting is flaps and handlings. So what in the literal hell is a flap? A flap is a risk. It's a legal risk. It's a legal problem. It's something that was done that we really all should know. And just, to double down on what Jesse Prince just said about the culture, yes. As long as everyone got criminally implicated, then it was all Gucci. Because it couldn't be more normal. It couldn't be more usual to describe these things. Okay, Debbie Cook would go, okay, HCO, flaps and handlings. And then the ethics officer had to stand up. Let's say this time was Bryn Canetta. Debbie Cook placed a 12-year-old to be the ethics officer. Very, very smart little 12-year-old girl. Very adulticized. Very much mature for her age. Very much a big Thetan in a tiny body, because she was probably like 4'8". She was like a tiny little girl, but very much like, had that like spicy jalapeno, I'm going to slice your throat type of, approach to herself. So that's why Debbie Cook loved her as an ethics officer. But there was that one time when students were found to be giving each other this, you guys, a minor, which we're going to not say her name, but an adult that we are going to say his name, Don Jarvis from Miami. Don Jarvis from Miami giving a literal, he was getting that inside of a video room. And all of a sudden, Bryn Canetta has to be there telling everybody, okay, sir, yes, this week we had an out to eat. And yeah, just like that, everyone was being told of who literally were essayed. And of course, we all thought, oh, you're so disgusting. You're such a whore. You should have never violated that rule. And just like that, this pretentiousness that they're puritanical in there, you guys, couldn't be more disgusting or deluded. But welcome to L. Ron Hubbard's ethics system. The system where the disgusted and deluded are the ethical ones. Like Debbie Cook, who really thought to herself, oh, I'm so, know what in the hell I'm talking about. I'm the most ethical woman on the planet. The whole wide world of the faith of the world depends on me, a desperate woman trying to do this job. Like Ron Hubbard just told us, like, little David Miscavige will go and pitch to them. You couldn't be more important to really save the world. And just like that, go tell everyone who literally essayed who inside of the hotel this week. Bryn Canetta, the 12-year-old, go tell everyone. And I know, you guys, it sounds crazy. Like, how in the literal hell is a 12-year-old girl talking about explaining to everyone this? The most normal thing for us, you guys. The most normal Thursday. It's just another Thursday. It's just another out to eat every other week. Sometimes it would go like 2-3 weeks with nothing. But then there would be weeks where it was 5 people went out to eat this week. So, and then what would happen? Then everyone got shat on. The people that didn't go out to eat would get shat on. We're going to investigate you. We're going to do meter checks. We're going to interrogate all of you. We're going to really get the ethics in of the group. So yeah, then all of a sudden for 3 weeks, you didn't hear anything. But then in 3 weeks later, oh, we just found another one. This happened again, you guys. So yeah. This little thing about telling everyone, sharing it with everyone, putting everything everywhere, distributed across the whole base. We're going to do a goldenrod, Laura Femme that wears a goldenrod jumpsuit. I mean, the goldenrod is how ethics was communicated, you guys. Anything ethical wise related was in a goldenrod. Distributed to everyone in writing what in the hell happened. Committee of evidence, one of those words that, again, the courts are really going with the ecclesiastical justice that these people do run for themselves. The comments were distributed. Oh, look at what came up with this public. He was doing this and this and that to his daughter. We really did comment him. We really did give him an immense project. Oh, and he really just donated $10 million. So he's not anymore in trouble. Donation acquired, floated the needle. He couldn't be more of a redeemed man. Self-admitted, literally self-admitted felons. We're talking self-admitted felons that, really admitted to talking about essaying of minors. Lots of other things too. You guys don't think it was just that. Do not for a second think it was just that. But you know what? So much of that was that's the only one that we're going to care for now. There's plenty more other stuff that was being discussed in those golden rods. Literally a lot. And maybe you can do a live with Laura to just talk to you guys about golden rods. And, you know, we do have a few of those golden rods ourselves. So we'll start exposing what in the hell was being communicated by all of these executives with a full-blown straight face. So that, you know, let the record show that they've never taken it upon themselves to regret a shred of a thing that they did write and typed with their own fingers with a full-blown straight face. Because that's what in the hell it's called, incrimination. Committee of evidence. Minor went out to the on the 4th floor of the Fort Harrison this many times, doing this many blowjobs to this many people. All the information, guys, all the information. No discrimination. No, like, oh no, we literally have to tell everyone everything because we are so transparent inside of the hotel. God forbid anything went out. As long as it's in the hotel, then very, very transparent. As long as there's outside eyes, no. Don't let anyone see this. This is very confidential, you guys. We really need to shred everything. As long as you read the thing, you guys, and it was like Inspector Gadget, this message will self-destruct in 10 minutes. So you would be like getting the info, and then you have to be like, okay, put in the shredding. Otherwise, it's out security. And if you go out security, you guys, you're doing a liability condition. And if you're doing a liability condition, you're doing amends. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of amends, which means that, you know, you really have to figure out in your own time, which you have none of, to really come up with projects that are going to help making up the damage for having gone out to the, having had an out security. So that's how much of these people have no shred of plausible deniability for anyone out there still wanting to cradle and canoodle them and put them in a little crib and give them a little bottle so they can really, like, you know, live out the babyhood that they all did live out for themselves. That type of babyhood. Because again, even the old timers, you guys, admit on the public record, we have that to show y'all. That, you know, when L1 Hubbard was around, it wasn't so unhinged. When L1 Hubbard was around, it wasn't so deranged. When L1 Hubbard was around, it wasn't taken so literal. Well, after 1993, thanks to Marty, Dave, and Rathbun, Marty and Mike, then it became so unhinged because they literally just won the war, so no one's ever going to check inside their hotels, and their high-priced attorneys that they really did take it upon themselves to build a decade-long relationship of money going into every month to really defend us, really help us, really figure it out, Monique. How many sham corporations do we need to build so that none of us are ever implicated on anything? And, you know, there's no corporation, but the Sea Org doesn't exist, but it does exist, but you're a volunteer, but they do lock up your passport, and all of that sham. That is the legacy of Marty, Mike, and Dave, that really should be front and center explaining their damn selves together as the three amigos that they were. Because that would be really great to have you all at the Shrine Auditorium to really hold another, you know, little event for yourselves. This one will actually live stream for y'all on YouTube's. Isn't it amazing, you guys? Can we imagine we get the three of them there telling us what in the hell actually happened and why? Because that would be really great. I would think that would make him a ton of views. Miscavige, Marty, and Mike on stage yet again after 1993, 2003, 13. Yeah, you guys have, you know, 3 decades plus. Give it up for them. They really did prop it up good. And apparently Monique has done incredible legal schmiegel that couldn't literally be protecting them more. I mean, if she literally tried, she's done a good job. She has been paid very, very well too, by the way. Miscavige announced that they were going to play musical chairs to determine who among them was the most committed to the task at hand, and that the winner would be reassigned to Scientology's far-flung outposts. So see you guys, far-flung outpost is where they would send any of the kids that would be essayed, that would become a legal liability. Far-flung outposts such as ending up in Australia. Far-flung outposts such as ending up in Denmark, ending up in the UK, ending up far away from the United States jurisdictional facilities. Isn't that great? That they could just be flown to Australia and all of a sudden disappear, and all of a sudden there's no trail of nothing. Some staffers cried at the thought of being separated from family. Others made ready, positioning chairs around the 30-foot long maple conference room. Miscavige used a boombox to play the Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. Oh my God, you guys. They literally tapped a gay man to play the little game. Not great that, David Miscavige is such a fan. Alleged fan, you guys. Alleged, Monique. I didn't say he was a fan. Alleged fan of a homosexual. Of a 1-1. Of a degraded being. Because that's what I was told I was inside of those hotels, Monique. So in what world is Mike Rinder and Marty Rathbun not having a fit that a 1-1 was used for them to play their little adult game, you guys? And I even got pushback for calling them infantile, you guys. But what in the literal hell are they playing musical chairs with? Last time I played musical chairs with guys, it's like I remember in my childhood, actually, in Mexican piñata parties, they would play that little game. And I did think I even won one time. I even specifically remember that. But you know what? Debbie Cook didn't play any musical chairs. Debbie Cook did not play Queen for us. And this infantile game that they're all playing for themselves, it sucks. It sucks to be them. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Oh, you guys, Thomas C. Tobin really channeling his inner poet. When the music stopped, the uniformed Sea Org members, the Navy fake military uniform, grown adult men and women that were in that facility that were not children, as far as we know. As far as we know, you guys, I've yet to hear of a single child stuck in this situationship for themselves. So very, very different from Debbie Cook, who did have a ton of kids at the hole. Very, very similar, very different from Tom DeVocht, who, as the commanding officer of CMO, had the power and the authority to immediately send you to the RPF. See, Debbie Cook didn't have that power. Debbie Cook had to give them committee of evidence. And then if the committee of evidence recommended it, then she could send them to the RPF. But Debbie Cook didn't have the rank to send someone straight to the RPF just because she felt like it that day. But who had it? Angie Blankenship, Marty Rathbun, David Miscavige, Shelly Miscavige, anyone who calls themselves a messenger, you guys, had that level of delulu. Okay? So they were just delulu AF, you guys. They couldn't have been more delusional if they were paying to be delusional. Oops, they were paying to be delusional, right? So 2 men fought so hard, a chair came apart in their hands. Whoa, you guys, this game is very, very important to the Tampa Bay Times. It's very, very important that every single last shred of citizen in Tampa finds out about a chair that fell apart at the hands of 2 adults playing musical chairs to Queen. Very, very important, you guys. This needs to be known. Breaking AF news, Tampa Bay people. Breaking AF news, Clearwater people. No wonder these hotels are still operating thanks to your wonderful newspaper that really do cares about any type of, dirt they can write about David Miscavige and his disgruntled proteges, his disgruntled subs, you guys. His disgruntled subs, as if David wasn't the dom of all of these people. Because I would love to hear how he wasn't the dom of all these people. If he was doing aftercare, bringing them a scotch after beating them up, that would be great to understand how that was not the relationship they were having for themselves. Yingling said Miscavige had been away from the base and then returned to find that in his absence, Rathbun had transferred hundreds of staffers. That's why nothing was getting done, she said. Rathbun and Rinder said it was the opposite. Nothing was getting done because David Miscavige took the top managers of their posts and ordered them to the hole. Rathbun said Miscavige berated him for not transferring more people. He said, she said, he said, she said, he said, he said, he said, he said, he said, he said, all this he said, he said, she said, over what is what in the hell I'm trying to really understand right now, you guys. Over what are we talking about here? From evening into the wee hours of the next day, the game of musical chairs dragged on, sometimes interrupted by the leader lecturing the group on their incompetence. So yet again, you guys, like, how much humiliation are these people getting off for themselves? And again, once the humiliation happened to them, then they started to not like it inside of that hotel, because the 3 decades that they did like for themselves wasn't spent doing this. It was spent them doing the dirty bidding of all the dirty stuff they did for David, as Jesse Prince already told us about how one became criminal, you're told to do criminal things, from your position you do criminal things, everyone's doing it, and then we're just all doing it, and it's all just a crime spree. So was it a crime spree, or were they really having a very religious situationship? Because I guess we cannot read into the legal schmeagle of it all. It's very, very hard to read through this legal schmeagle. From evening into the wee hours of the next day, the game of musical chairs dragged on, sometimes by, it is like the apocalypse now, Rathbun said. It's bizarre. The game ended with 2 women competing for the last chair. It was definitely a physical struggle, and they were grappling and wrestling, Rathbun recalled. Then Miscavige leaves and says, okay, good. We'll see you fuckers tomorrow. Oh, yes, you guys. And no, the Tampa Bay Times didn't literally write fuckers, but I mean, you guys play F ... I mean, what else could he have said? Is that not fuckers? I mean, literally, Miscavige never carried out his threats of mass transfers. Well, good to know, you guys. Good to know. Boom. All right, guys. Next chapter. I think this is the last one. The last chapter. One beating too many. The next night, Miscavige ordered his executives to jog from the hall to a building where staffers made CDs of long ago lectures by Hubbard. With the group still huffing from the 400-yard run, Miscavige grilled the Vogt, who had overseen renovations to the building. He slapped the Vogt, threw him to the floor, and began to choke him. The Vogt can recall why he was attacked. Maybe he hesitated with an answer. Maybe he gave a look to the leader that he didn't like. Whatever the reason, he accepted his drubbing in silent, degrading submission. Miscavige grew angrier, and if you expressed pain or resisted, the defectors said. So they really wanted to show that they liked it. Otherwise, they were getting in shit, you guys, which is absolutely disgusting. That's literally the commission of a felony here. But Yet again, in what world are none of these felonies getting reported? Oh, in the world of these hotels, you guys, where felonies are laundered, not reported. That was going back to our little note earlier that I think I lost again, but SOP, remember, standard operating procedure? That was the standard operating procedure. Someone committed a felony, don't put Scientology at risk, really do handle it with whatever in the hell handlings we tell you to do inside of this hotel. You literally sitting there thinking, I'm not going to hit this guy, the Vox said. It happened so suddenly. What do? Then you want to go after him. How many people are going to pummel you? You got to realize the place is so cultish, it's scary. Yeah, that's right, Tom the Vox. Since you did pummel me, when you did read to the entire base at Base White Briefing on Monday, right before the Golden Age of Tech was released, just to really orient you to the time, just so you can really go, oh no, Serge, you must be so confused. It wasn't me. It was you. It was you. You were the COCMO on a Monday briefing, you guys. Monday briefings were for Tom the Vox or Angie Blankenship or Pilar Saldarriaga, whoever was the COCMO, would start doing base white briefings, mandatory with the COCMO. Everyone must come. So yeah, take a look at that, Tom the Vox, and really, refresh your memory. Refresh it real quick, because you literally, and I wasn't the only one, before you sent me, you would do that to other kids. So plenty of kids that ended up stuck in the RPF. And, but you really got to realize this place is so cultish, it's scary. And you got to really realize that you were a senior executive in that cultish, scary environment. But apparently you're not scared of yourself. Apparently you're only scared when David does it to you. Y'all are not on the record being scared of your damn selves and the power derangement that y'all developed as a result of role-playing fake military posts inside of a hotel, unhinged, unchecked, unsupervised. So take a look at that for yourself real quick and add that to your W write-up. How many kids did you send to the RPF personally, Tom the Vox? Think about that long and hard. How many of your own CMO staff members that were under the age of 18, since you had plenty of those, ran into legal hiccups? And how much of your little buddy Mikey's office, OSA, Mike wasn't doing all, you guys. Mike was a high senior executive. He was only dealing with the worst of the worst and masterminding. Very similar like Miscavige, the top executives are not doing the work. They're ordering their minions and proteges to go and do their bidding. So that's how the master-slave chain works. So just so no one's confused and, I don't know what in the hell was going on, that's how it went on. So it would be great to know from you, Tom the Vox, how many legal issues were you helped by the Office of Special Affairs? Because right about now, it's sounding more like the Office of Illegal Affairs. What in the hell you propped up, Mike Rinder? That would be a much better name for your little office. The Office of Illegal Affairs. How many illegal things can we cover up today? How many breakings can we coordinate? And yes, you guys, then later on, they stopped using Scientologists. And that's when they went with the whole, let's really hire a lot of PIs and let's really put a lot of, in-betweens us. So, they're not really having the Sea Org members do that type of dirty work anymore. I wonder how much of that was your idea, Mike Rinder, because the GO used to use L. Ron Hubbard's proteges to do their dirty work. But then y'all got advice from some attorneys. It's like, no, don't implicate yourselves. We'll take care of it. We'll just hire someone that will hire someone that will hire someone. And all of a sudden, no one will have a shred of a clue that we did it. Huh? Well, you couldn't be more pathetic or easy to read, since y'all are following on the exact same footsteps as Epstein and Weinstein. Isn't that great, you guys? That these people were also employing all manner of ex-Mossad people to go and intimidate and interrogate and steal things and break into things and do all manner of dirty tricks so they can keep their victims shutting the F up. Scobie says executives at the California base were trapped. They dare not speak to each other about Miscavige's behavior, afraid they would be found out in confessions known as security checks. So that's great, you guys. Security checks have been known about since Amy Scobie did talk to the Tampa Bay Times about them. A person said something negative about Miscavige might withhold it in her confession, Scobie said, but someone else would invariably report it in theirs. So you don't want to go against him, she said. It wasn't even an option, as amazing as it seems. Now, after being out, I would do everything different. Well, that's great that you would do everything different, Amy Scobie. Well, start by actually coming clean yourself on what in the hell was going on with Celebrity Center and with all of the celebrities, since you were tapped as the watchdog for celebrities. So talk a lot more about all the type of special treatment, literally crisis management operations that you would know about, that you would have coordinated with Mike Rinder's office with, about doing anything to do with celebrities, because that would be great for us to get a little briefing on that from the watchdog of the Celebrity Center herself. Literally get on the record and start telling us for how many years you were that watchdog looking out for cleaning up all manner of celebrity problems and utilizing, including but not limited to, underage people in your celebrity office like Liz Ferris. Yeah. President's office, the one that handles all the VIPs, because Liz was put to do all manner of cleanups on y'all's behalf. It turns out she was a child and a minor when she was doing all of that. So that would be very great to understand from Amy Scobie, you guys. And for Sea Org members, there's a personal struggle as well. You put on your whole life into the church and you don't think, and you think that that's your route to freedom, Scobie said. There's a lot of great things about it and you don't want to throw that away. You don't want to risk it. So again, you guys, yeah, maybe back in that day, Amy, you were having that delusion for yourself. But you know what? 18 years later, you should have undiluted yourself. And in this year 2024, if you really want to pitch that there was a lot of great things about it, well, double check that pitch real quick. Double check it real quick, because yet again, as much as you guys have focused and stressed how bad you all had it in that trailer, we're talking about standard straight Scientology, what in the hell the problem is. The audits of everything that was found out about everything, because you guys were holding executive positions. Why not just leave? Easy to say, according to Rinder. Scientology preaches self-reliance. You alone control your environment, your condition in life, no one else doing it but your own. Well, thank you so much, Mike Rinder, because you have just literally told us exactly how you were preaching to kids this exact dangerous line that you are telling yourself on. So minors are told that they have to be self-reliant, that they alone can control their environment as adults in small bodies that they are, and that their condition is no one else's but their own. So that would be great to clarify and to add to your affidavit, Mike Rinder. Add that there. How many kids did you instruct to really blame themselves for everything that happened to them? Because we would love to know every name of every child you ever bamboozled. And any one of your proteges that could have been implicated with you doing that level of bamboozling on kids, telling them they were responsible for their own out-to-D. You pulled it in. You did it to yourself. You need to come clean. You were not the victim. You were also a perpetrator. I would love to hear from all the executives how all of y'all that did take it upon yourselves to implicate, find out, get KRs, get session worksheets, get video recordings of the admissions of the criminal activity. So don't act confused. Don't act like, oh, but nobody would have known. You all knew. Thanks to L. Ron Hubbard, the person that you claim really had a lot of great ideas. Well, one of L. Ron Hubbard's great ideas was to do exactly this. To put it all on record, to transcribe it all, and to video record it, and for y'all to have your little power trip like that. So that would be really great to connect that dot for yourselves. You strongly, but just as strongly as Scientology holds that if you leave the church, something is wrong with you, somewhere in your past is an overt and a transgression. Yeah, exactly. Somewhere in the past, you really did something to pull this in. That's why even you guys, when I ended up in that RPF program, I was like, oh my God. And I heard Kelly, Copter, and Bianca talking about this yesterday. We thought we were Hitler ourselves. We thought, my God, my past life, I must have literally wanted to kill. I remember talking about, destroying, exploding planets. And I was trying to be like, well, maybe because I exploded so many things, I have such a fucked up life now. So imagine I'm 16 years old in a disgusting, moldy apartment being interrogated by a self-admitted you-know-what. And all of a sudden I have to delude myself to think that I created explosions in other planets. And that really makes sense why in the hell I am in this disgusting condition that I made up for myself, that I'm responsible for. And before you get confused, Mike Rinder also talked to us about Lorian Isaacson, who was there in the RPF, having gone out to the with Kenny Davis, who was also there with all you full knowing that since they were gold staff members. Claire would know about this. Mike would know about this. All of y'all would know about this. And Lori, a cadet, person that literally grew up in the Sea Org, ended up across state lines from California, shipped off to Florida. So start explaining all the movements of all the people you found out everything about. Start explaining that part of the story, that part of a withhold. Because all you do is always tell part of a withhold, but not the rest. This one little part over here, but then let me not talk about anything else, because why would I have to talk about anything else? Why would I want to clean my hands? Well, that's what you were pitching inside of those hotels. That's exactly what you were pitching. Actually, here you go. Another quote from you. It becomes a big sort of a dichotomy. Rinder said, staying in an unhappy situation is no way to control your environment. But if you leave, I'm doing something wrong. And it's like a catch-22. Isn't that great, you guys? Just a little dichotomy-ish. Just a little dichotomy-ish. It's like, I really want to help. I'm in a bad situation. David is beating me all the time. But if I leave, I'm doing also something wrong. So what should I do? Because, when David is not beating me, I'm going around the hotels abusing people. I'm going around literally, per my memos, going and breaking into things, going and collecting blackmail, going and buying information, full knowing it's illegal. Like, that's not what your memo said. Oh yeah, we know that stuff is illegal, but let's just pretend it isn't. For Rinder, the Scientology experience he knew and loved had become something so foreign, a work climate increasingly strange and abusive. Well, we would love to find out from you, Mike Rinder, what was the Scientology experience that you knew and loved? Because, once again, I grew up in Scientology and I have no shred of love for a shred of experience. I am disgusted, nauseated beyond belief that in any way, shape, or form I spend my entire formative years slaving away for Debbie Cook and the rest of all of you crooks. I have no shred of loving anything that a disgusting indicted felon wrote down on a piece of paper that he literally pulled out of his ass. So right about now, we would love to hear your little success story. Write it down for all of us. We cannot wait to read your Scientology success stories where you were loving the experience. And, you know, only when David did something gross to you, then it became very, very foreign is what you went with. Isn't that great? The little words that Mike Rinder uses. Very sanitizing. It becomes a big sort of a dichotomy. And, you know, it just became something that so foreign from what I loved, the experience that I used to have that I really loved. So please advise Mike Rinder, what in the literal hell was so lovable about those hotels? That you, Debbie Cook, Marty Rathbun, were running around rampant, really pretending and purporting that you were saving the world's your damn selves. It was also a cross current with the kinder, gentler public posture the church sought to build over the past 20 years. You guys. There you go. So it was also cross currents with the kinder, gentler public posture that the church sought to build over 20 years. Who were your PR consultants, Mike Rinder? Because do a little video about that right about now. Since we do know from the public record that y'all were really tapping the best crisis managers you could find. Crisis managers that told you, y'all, you need to come across kinder and gentler. You can't be unhinged. You cannot be wearing these military uniforms and being out of your MF mind. But it was, according to literal L. Ron Hubbard's publicist, just false posturing. What in the hell they were looking for. Oh yeah, when we get beat up in double white-sided trailers, then it's not so gentle. And what about when you were being investigated by that German documentary, Mike Rinder, where we do have you front and center. So don't tell us you didn't know about that one either. Don't tell us for a second. We have you on tape. You were there. So in what world was all the things going on in those RPFs, kind and gentler posturing? Because, yeah, senior executives were not all just stuck in the same trailer. Because all these senior executives, all they've ever given a shred of an F to really talk about is make it about themselves and their time at a trailer for themselves. And going back to a little word that we are going to learn and use a lot on you is similar overt of your own. Mike Rinder, similar overt of your very, very, very own. We don't give a shred of an F what David was doing. We don't give a shred of an F what anyone else tell you to do. What did you do yourself? And yeah, tell us, who were these people consulting you to really come across gentler and kinder? Because right about now, you know, we're seeing through the facade AF. Rinder, as the chief chief launderer of L. Ron Hubbard's image, aka, conveyed time and time again the church purged the lawbreakers and dirty tricksters off of the 1970s and reinvented itself. Rose water, you guys, because we are getting somewhere, aren't we, Mike Rinder? We are getting somewhere with what in the hell you already put on the public record. So does no one is in any way, shape, or form confused. Let's read this paragraph again, shall we? It was at the cross currents with the kinder, gentler public posture the church sought to build over past 20 years. Posturing, a message that Rinder, as the chief spokesman, conveyed time and time again. The church purged the lawbreakers and dirty tricksters of the 1970s and reinvented itself. Isn't that great, Mike Rinder, that you purged the lawbreakers and then you were a what? Having similar overts of your own. Isn't that great that you could just say, oh yeah, Mary Sue Hubbard was out of her mind. She couldn't have been more implicated in a wide-ranging criminal racketeering scheme herself. And here I am to really kind of clean up everything because, you know, the office where Mary Sue Hubbard and all the other criminal racketeers that did get indicted and sent to prison by a criminal investigation, Mike Rinder, criminal that you would know everything about, and that you did spend, according to the Tampa Bay Times, years as the chief spokesman, time and time again, talking about how, oh yeah, the church purged the lawbreakers and the dirty tricksters. And that's what we're talking about, the situation ship, you guys. Because for these people to pretend they're even capable of reform, in what world is anyone going to be able to reform? Where number one, L. Ron Hubbard made it illegal to change a shred of rhetoric that disgusting pig wrote for himself. So we would love to understand the reformation that took place when nobody got the memo that L. Ron Hubbard canceled his subordinates from ever crossing nothing. You cannot cross nothing. You cannot change nothing. You cannot water down nothing. You cannot, and we already have it. Literally, check it out on the video that we just did before, you guys, in their own words. The T, down to the T, down to the comma, down to the period, down to everything. As long as you follow what L. Ron Hubbard says, then we're all going to be covered and we're all going to be good. So in what world was committing systemic institutionalized felonies a change of anything in a world of glib as fuck reporters? You guys, in that exact world, in a world of Thomas E. Tobin that literally took whatever was pitched to him and typed it real quick and then went and cashed his check and then went to the Bahamas and really have a little nice vacation for himself and have a little life for himself, right, Thomas? Because you're having a jolly old time in Florida, Thomas, aren't you? Don't you just love it there? Don't you just love your little Tampa gig where you really have literally been lying to everyone in Tampa of what in the hell's going on in those hotels? And if you want to say that you weren't the one that's lying, well, you know, go and give a call to Mike Rinder and say, yo, why didn't y'all tell me any of this other part of the context? Because, you know, I was an investigator and I thought I was helping you guys because I really thought we were going to get somewhere by really telling everyone about the musical chairs y'all were, you know, really rocking to Queen. I mean, literally. Please advise. We just stopped doing things that I and others considered to be foolish and harmful and off policy, Rinder said, except at home. Now, the irony is what's being done on the inside is foolish and harmful and abusive, he said. Well, you know, guys, bravo, bravo. You know, imagine everything we've discussed in this video, you guys, and you really come across with, it was all such foolishness. It's just foolish and harmful, little foolish, little off policy, little bit of this, little bit of that, sprinkle some shit, sprinkle more shit, and Thomas Tobin, who has no sense of smell, will ever be able to smell a shred of a thing, because why would Thomas E. Tobin of the Tampa Bay Times, who claims to be a reporter, who claims to have gone to school, who claims to not be under the influence of L. Ron Hubbard, has no shred of clue about what in the hell he's writing about. And has no shred of clue that Mike Rinder is a PR pawn, is L. Ron Hubbard's publicist. Imagine you're Jeffrey Epstein's publicist. And then the Miami Herald comes and gives you an interview. And imagine that you kept out of the public consciousness the fact you were targeting kids the whole time you were there. Yes, it was done to Mike Rinder, but then he went around and did it to more kids. That's where you're implicated, Mike Rinder. That is the little nugget there where your contribution to this thing as the top spokesperson, PR publicist, high school dropout that you are. But I guess all it took is for L. Ron Hubbard to let you wear a military uniform that you didn't deserve, a military uniform that you literally stole an idea of valor and courage and put it on yourself so that you could dupe kids such as me to think y'all had a shred of a clue what in the literal abominable hell you were doing. And for my idiotic parents who couldn't have been more goo-goo gaga for y'all, the executives, they're so great, they're so wonderful. And imagine that with a straight face, you're literally on the public record being called out for having said all about how, oh yeah, but you know, that was so long ago. The church purged the lawbreakers and the dirty tricksters of the 70s and reinvented itself. And you really did go to all of these people that were doing crisis management for you so that you could achieve that image. And again, you guys, credit when credit is due, because you know what? You did accomplish a lot. You did accomplish a lot for yourself. Your legacy speaks for itself. Erected AF. Alive and well AF. As if your own protege, Mike Rinder, from 2 videos ago, didn't call you out for OSA, the little office you funded, being the only reason this shit is alive. PR, you guys, is all the reason these people have a shred of, okay, well, yeah, maybe religions can do whatever, you guys. And, you know, we couldn't be more religious in here, right? Because it's all just a PR smoke screen. And for a long time, yes, a lot of people have gotten really stuck with this idea that, you know, even the Xenu thing doesn't raise a shred of red flag, you guys. I was talking to the people outside the testing center, and I did make it very clear. If you see a man that wants to believe in Xenu, that's an adult, that's a grown-ass man, and you're standing outside saying, don't believe in Xenu, you couldn't be more of an idiot. You're really going to sit outside a place and talk about, like, oh, you can't believe in Xenu? Like, fine, go waste your time. Go waste your time. Feel better about yourself because you don't believe in Xenu and they do. And y'all can have a little dick fight between who can believe it and who can't. We don't give a shred of a single F to sort out Xenu for no one. Because yet again, we go back to what is Scientology but audits? What is Scientology by locking you up against your will? What is Scientology by a bunch of criminal people inside of these hotels that are completely out of their minds, staying to Jesse Prince, that really did give us that quote that they're all just criminal and everybody does it, to literally end up exactly where we are. So the irony is that what's being done on the inside is foolish and harmful and abusive. So all of you guys, by all means, grab this little quote, literal quote from Mike Rinder, who really did take it upon himself to pitch whatever's being done is just a little harmful, just a little foolish, and a little bit abusive. Just a little sprinkle of this and a little sprinkle of that, because that's the question we have today, Mike Rinder. We didn't have it back in, 2010. We were still under your spell that you really wanted to come clean and really wanted to help the world. But you know what? 15 years later, and you still haven't had any type of reconciliation about anything? Go to therapy, Mike Rinder. Although you won't be able to confess to crimes, but maybe the trauma that you did live out, being shoved into a tree by a midget in a terry cloth thing that might or might have not been wearing underwear, you guys. That is the big mystery of the moment right now. Was David, as he was throwing Mike Rinder 3 times his size into a tree, was he wearing underwear or not? And how good was that scotch that you got right after? Did that really make you feel better? Because we would love to understand that too. Because we never got scotches after we got beaten up. Just FYI, Mike Rinder. Debbie Cook never said, oh, here, let me slap you. And then, here's a little Coke since you're a child and you can't drink. Oh, no, never mind. You're a child, but you're an adult and not small body. Here, drink this up. As if these people didn't have us drinking underage, you guys. They used to have a little disgusting, depraved party every Christmas called the Bosun's Party. And guess the beer and cheese party, you guys. And for, 3 years that I was there, then it flapped. Then Debbie Cook was like, oh shit, all these minors went out of their mind because they're all underage drinking inside of the hotel. And then they did cancel it. But once a year, these people would let everyone get drunk out of their mind, because L. Ron Hubbard did write it that back in the day when, we're being told that it was so fun in the ship that L. Ron Hubbard was running, that was the little party that they had for themselves. So if you were having a little party about the beer and cheese party and whoopee woo, so 3 years is what that beer and cheese party lasted, with minors getting drunk underage, Mike Rinder. And yeah, that might not be your fault, because you know what? You weren't supervising the Fort Harrison Hotel. But unlucky for you, your little frenzy Wency, Debbie Cook, the crook, was supervising the hotel. And it took her 3 years to cancel the party, you guys. And then they did cancel the party. So credit when credit is due. Yes. Debbie Cook, yes, thank you for 3 years later, after you did do that party for, decades, where minors always got drunk in the party, always had underage alcohol for themselves. It did get canceled by Debbie Cook. So let's give her that credit, you guys. Let's give her a tiny little bit of shred of credit. Never mind that she didn't do it for the right reasons. She just did it so that she wouldn't get in trouble. So Rathbun saw and delivered many beatings over the years, but he said that Miscavige's attack on the Vok the night after the musical chairs game clarified his thinking, you guys. Oh my God. Look, Marty Rathbun is having the clear cognition, you guys. Not great. He's ready to attest the state of clear, Marty Rathbun. When his other little frenzy Wency, Tom DeVog, did get beat up, even though Marty Rathbun was, beating Mike Rinder for self-preservation. It's like Mike Rinder was self-preservation, but, Tom DeVog really did take it over the edge. So Marcus Ginter, that told you that he was bringing in girls to the 3rd floor of the Fort Harrison Hotel, that he was putting said girls on his lap, purporting to do ethics handlings, and was doing way more than just putting the little girl in the lap. That, Marty Rathbun, was what? An overt and a withhold that you were pulling, that you did it float, and you couldn't have been more of a parishioner when you really did hear that self-admitted Class A felony for yourself. and that didn't clarify your thinking in any way, shape, or form, because that's what's not making a shred of sense, Marty Rathbun. It's not making a shred of sense how you really did pitch to, the story of fake redemption, you guys. This is called the propaganda rundown because this is proper MF Ganda. Oh yeah, I really clarified my mind after I saw another adult get beat, even though I was beating a bunch of adults, but my little buddy over here says I was just self-preserving. 4 days earlier, when Miscavige put Rathbun in the hole, he instructed everyone not to talk to him, but the Vogt quietly defied that order, asking Rathbun to help him figure out what to do, please, with Miscavige. Now the Vogt was being beaten. I'm watching this go down, and I just had this incredible connection, this humanity connection with Tom. Rathbun said, "Oh, you got woo! Oh my God. Rose water for this real big moment right here that we're having for ourselves." Rathbun had a humanity connection. Where was that humanity connection when you were interrogating me, Marty? MF Rathbun. Please advise where in the hell that humanity connection was. Where was that humanity connection when you took it upon yourself to launder the self-admitted felonies of a literal essay child abuser from hell? Because apparently nowhere to be found was your humanity. But Thomas E. Tobin, okay, you said humanity? Yeah, humanity. Couldn't be more human. What in the hell you did, and you couldn't be more redeemed because you really did see someone else, and la 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 la. I'm watching this go down, and I just had this incredible connection, this human connection with Tom. Rathbun said, "I subscribe to the Popeye philosophy." Oh, Marty, Marty Rathbun is a comedian, you guys. Who would have known that he subscribed to the L. Ron Hubbard and the Popeye philosophy? Well, isn't that just so great, you guys? Like Popeye and L. Ron Hubbard. I mean, what could go wrong in that? I can take so much, but I can't take no more. Please, you guys. That really the Popeye philosophy? I can take so much, but I can't takes no more. I mean, literally see the quote for yourselves at the Tampa Bay Times that, Popeye and, what else did they talk about? Like, oh, you guys, I literally, oh my God, I just say. So yeah, Popeye is what we're going with here at the Tampa Bay Times and musical chairs to really cement and corroborate our point, you guys. So when we call these people infantile, they're not just saying, "Oh, you're just depressed and overly critical." What in the hell would you like to call Popeye and musical chairs? You tell us, Marty Rathbun, what we should be calling you right about now with your Popeye philosophy. Oh my God, you guys, this is crazy. I mean, in what world was this printed by an American Pulitzer Prize winning, so-called winning newspaper? Oh, we're almost to the end, you guys. So yeah, Popeye, I still have a thread of dignity. And I see it being crushed in people around me. What am I going to do? Am I going to become one of them too? You guys, I think we need to read this to Marty Rathbun again. Are you going to become one too? You are asked to do things that are illegal. You are asked to do things that are criminal, you know, in your position. And then pretty soon you're doing it. Everyone else is doing these type of criminal activities. Superpower rundown. Right, guys? Superpower rundown. So yeah, Marty Rathbun, nice try and good on getting whatever in the hell spell you had to do for Thomas C. Tobin to really go with that little, I still have a thread of dignity. You still have a what? A shred of dignity? Because I would say you don't even have a shred, Marty Rathbun. Personally, me speaking from experience, dignity is what in the hell all of you MFers lacked. Dignity is what every child abuser lacks. Has not even a shred of it. That is what is called not being human, being completely inhumane out of your MF mind. But never mind that, you know, your humanity did show up for Tom DeVock, a full-grown man. So thank God that you did tell us that you had humanity there, because you had no humanity with how in the hell you were all treating the kids. So start really writing your overts and your withholds in your affidavit to the Crimes Against Children Unit, Marty Rathbun. Real quick, type it up. You love typing. We all know that you love writing down all your thoughts and your opinions. I'm Marty Rathbun. I didn't go to school. I was really important. Please, everyone, listen to me. I'm getting checks for Monique. I really settled a whole bunch of stuff with my buddy, David. Interesting. As the rest of the group herded back into the hole, Rathbun broke off and ducked into some bushes. He went for his motorcycle, a Yamaha 650. Wheeled to the back gate of the compound and then hid in the bush for about 20 minutes. When the gate opened for a car, he sped away. Well, isn't that great to be you, Marty Rathbun, that we have it on the record that you did manage to get out. So you couldn't have been more privileged. Your literal white slave owner, child slave owner privilege is showing in your Yamaha 650 that, you know, Thomas E. Tobin really go with, how can we pitch you as like cool and really about to like run, run, run. I mean, seriously, you guys, pathetic. Rathbun said that he felt rage and loss mixed with an odd excitement. Isn't that so exciting, you guys? I'm kind of exhilarated that I've made this step and I'm hauling ass because I'm thinking someone is following me. Nothing as exciting as being followed. Nothing as exciting as having your little motorcycle to really speed out of that compound that you purport was so hard to get out of. And we would know, Marty Rathbun, because we were never able to speed off anywhere when we were locked away against our will. So that brings us to the full conclusion of this, you guys. Isn't that great? Give it up to yourselves. Give it up to yourselves for, you know, really understanding this dissertation of brought to you by none other than the Tampa Bay Times, Thomas C. Tobin, who did do a wonderful, wonderful job laundering the image of all the executives that are on the record telling on themselves AF, AF, AF. So Where is the plausible deniability is what we're looking and really questioning ourselves today. Yes, the law always provides full plausible deniability, full you were innocent of everything, full we got to really prove it. Well, lucky for us, we don't give a shred of an F for someone to have to prove nothing. We were given a front row seat at y'all's adult dysfunction. And now that we have become adults in adult bodies, all of this is being called out. All of this is being juxtaposed to what in the hell is going on today inside of those hotels. So very, very quickly start connecting the dots, because the dots are connected AF. The facts are what the facts are. This is a wide-ranging criminal scheme that y'all were part of. And not because you spend so much money that wasn't even your own. You spend money of the parents that gave you your kids. And again, you guys, as if the parents are not 1 billion trillion % implicated. In fact, I blame the parents more than the executives. Although it's a bit of a chicken and egg theory, right? Because if there was no hotel, maybe we wouldn't have ended up being trafficked by these executives. But if our parents wouldn't have given us to them, then maybe we wouldn't have been trafficked by those executives. So I don't know. Maybe, let's really think about that, because once again, this idea that David Miscavige is out of his mind and blah, blah, blah. Well, he is out of his mind, you guys. Breaking news. He was beating somebody 3 times his size in allegedly a terror cloth bathrobe. So we did find out that information for ourselves today, you guys. So at least we really do know that David Miscavige likes to, quickly put his little terror cloth bathrobe in his little tiny little vessel. But, he's a big Thetan. He's just in a small body, and his body doesn't mean anything because his body is just a vessel. So don't think that he's pressed, because we all are literally talking about his size, you guys. Don't think that David Miscavige is pressed about that, because it's in mind. He's big Thetan. That's what he's been told his whole entire life. He's a big Thetan. He's a big boy. He couldn't be more, special. He couldn't be more charming. He couldn't be more beating Mike Rinder and then quickly handing him a scotch and saying, just kidding, I really did get off beating you because you are 3 times my size, and I really got turned on by sending your head straight into a tree. So we do have that on the record, and it's just another one of these things that we really have to understand for ourselves, you guys. So let's go through some of your comments here. I don't know if you put question on it. I only have a couple things starred, so let's really go through this. Try to put question. It really does help you guys when you do have a comment that you want to have read. I wonder if there's like a better way to do this, because it's so many of you guys in the chat talking, and that is really, really great. Let's see. Let's start with, we'll start with the super chat. Are your parents still inside the cult? Thank you, Arta, for your super chat. Yes. My parents are very, very much still in the cult. But my parents are not Sea Org members. My parents are donors, paid members, giving money to the traffickers, giving kids to the traffickers. So my parents are implicated for different reasons. But again, you guys, in what world And you guys that know about child trafficking and all of that, in what world can a parent override common sense guardrails for their kids, knowingly put them in harm's way, knowingly put them in hotel rooms where they won't be able to leave, with the parent full knowing what in the hell is going on? The parents do not know. The parents know. The parents are aware. So, yeah, maybe the police cannot go tell parents how to be better parents. But you know what? The police does jail parents that commit criminal activity, as if we don't have the literal 10 passengers mom who was out of her mind sadistically abusing her kids. And look at what she's facing. What is her name? Ruby, whatever. So yeah, my parents are still very much in there, and my parents are still very much missing in action to take a shred of responsibility, missing in action as they're still now implicating my sister's son. Imagine there's another minor in Scientology in my family being literally, implicated and subjected to all of this because, none of these people wants to, be told no. No, none of these people want to be told no. They always want to be like, I can do whatever in the hell I want. I have the freedom of whatever in the hell L. Ron Hubbard wrote. I couldn't be more covered to be a sadistic parent because I can cite L. Ron Hubbard. I mean, imagine that that's all it takes for the parents to play dumb. Oh, there's an L. Ron Hubbard policy that I really did find that too useful. And that's what I was doing to my kid. It wasn't abuse. It was L. Ron Hubbard. So, Chopper, hello, Purple Groovy. Hello, Amanda. Eva. You guys are making such funny comments. I mean, oh my God. Thank you for your super chat, Laura Boatwright from a 501c Children of Cult Abuse Advocacy. Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys, there are 501cs out there that are not trying to scam the entire world and then some. So shout out to you, Laura, and thank you for advocating for child abuse. Children need advocates. Children cannot advocate for themselves. And we do have to use our critical thinking skills so that they don't get effed over. And that's what this is all about. We're putting the critical thinking skills that, believe it or not, I'm not going to say L. Ron Hubbard gave it to us, but, it's part of your journey as a trauma survivor to put your pain to purpose. And I was made an interrogator and I was made an investigator, and I had to investigate things and I had to connect shreds of dots, or my head was served on a disgusting styrofoam platter, you guys, because there was no silver platter. I was going to say silver platter, but actually I was just literally sent to be part of a styrofoam. Lara in the house. I'm trying to focus at work seriously, Elena, and she's wondering why I'm laughing so hard. Oh, that's good, Lara. Well, we have to laugh and cry, you guys, because how else can we literally get through these articles, and how else can we audit all of this dysfunction? I mean, there is no way to do it all. And shout out to our wonderful mod, Joe. You literally could not be a nice person and climb the ladder in Scientology. Not possible. I mean, that's the sickness, you guys. And that is the problem that they have to explain to themselves today. They need a mirror. I mean, before you write your OWs and your withholds to the FBI, go visit a mirror and try and gain some self-reflection. Just sit there. Just literally sit there and say today is a great day to tell the truth. Today is a great day to figure out how to really talk about what in the hell matters. Yeah, I'm just seeing this. Speaking of special and Marty's hate page from Scientology is still up and not secured. They just left that page sit there with no certificate. Well, yeah, you guys, Scientology's got so many hate websites. You know, that's been their literal go-to. Let's put a little, hate website together and voila, we've laundered our image. We literally laundered our image right quick, right, guys? By the way, from Amanda, for the new folks here, Search has heaps of videos to go back and watch. Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, you guys, I mean, take a look. There's a ton of celebrities that we've already called out. There's a ton of executive enablers that we've called out. So yeah, by all means, binge watch this situation so that you can get a little bit more context, because we need the context. We really do need the context to how these hotels are operating. And the more educated we all become here, the more we can spread this message, the less they can play dumb. Okay, you guys? So that is the purpose of exposing the facts. The facts need to be exposed. In no world is any of these children inside of the hotels today going to be safe, as long as the facts keep being sanitized, meddled with, and always telling part of a withhold, but not the rest. Grounded for truth. I wonder how Dave's asthma is doing these days. Yeah, I wonder if David got an asthma attack in his terry cloth little thing that he, likes to beat people up with. And definitely find out if he has underwear when he's running around in this little row, you guys. Because that would be great to understand. Got so many of you guys here in the chat today. Thank you so much for joining us and helping us. Oh, and here, Melissa from Seattle. Serge, you cracked me up with the sound effects. Well, good, Melissa. I mean, Melinda, sorry. I'm glad you guys liked it. I mean, I usually wasn't using them anymore. I used them for a little bit, you guys, but then anyways, yeah. I'm glad that this is breaking up this intensity, you guys. Also, like rose water, don't forget to oh, it's so good. It's literally cleansing our soul, you guys. And Kenya 75, the house of degenerates, for real, for real, for real. Yes, unfortunately, that is what these kids are facing. So let's get them out of that house, because no child is safe inside of those hotels whatsoever, you guys. Okay. I'm going so fast, you guys, so I'm just literally stopping here and there because you guys are talking a lot, which is great. And I will try and get a better system to figure out the questions and the comments. Burn Heretic. The Whole was another short story they used to plausibly deny they had anything to do with criminal activity that occurred. Rinder used to use it all the time, but that short story has been debunked. Well, thank you, Burn Heretic. And yeah, it's short stories, guys, is what they were teaching in those hotels to keep up and prop up this disgusting stuff. And short stories are very simple. They're just, paperclip withholds, aka things they say that look like they're coming clean, but they're all just misdirecting. They're all just, oh, look over here, look at gold, where all the executives were. There was no child there. Okay, so no one's gonna, blame us for bringing and implicating kids. And since, apparently everyone else outside is so stupid to not know what they don't know, well, it sucks to be you who didn't have eyeballs in the hotel and who are really, listening, thinking that, okay, well, it sounds like you really want to, blow a whistle around here. So let's really sit and find out what you have to say. But turns out that the whistle is literally that, you guys, a little whistle. Anon, oh, hi, Anon. Good to see you on the chat again. What's this? Yes, burned heretic. Asio Osa, what legal liabilities did you protect the church from? On the question, Asio Osa, what legal liabilities did you protect the sham 501c from? Are you suppressing anything, Mike Rinder? On the question, Asio Osa, what legal liabilities did you protect the sham 501c from? Are you invalidating anything? Is there anything that you're being careful of? Is there anything that we have nearly found out by really disclosing all of these things inside of this editorial? And we almost nearly found out about it, but we still might be missing it. Because is there anything that you're failing to reveal? Or anything that you're just like, ooh, not ising, I'm not going to think about that. I committed those overts and those withholds and those crimes, but I just literally going to put a little floating bubble that is going to make me not see anything. We need more than a bubble head, Mike Rinder. We need a lot more than a literal bubble head. Was Serge born into it, or did his family bring him into it in later life? Thank you for your question, Aaron. I was born into it. Literally, since the day I opened my eyes, my parents were already stuck, having signed a billion-year contract. And I did talk about how when I was 5-year-old, I literally drank paint thinner to literally real quick, but it didn't work. I came back, and that did get my mom and my dad to come to their senses a little bit, and they blew the hotel. You guys, they blew real quick. Oh my God. My mom was like, oh, I've been so neglectful. I haven't seen my child in 5 years. And now I have another 2-year-old in there and I never see them. And one almost, so maybe I will blow. Maybe I will become a suppressive, but don't worry about it, guys. As soon as I was old enough, my mom and my dad made sure that I ended up at the hotel with the signed billion-year contract. And do you think they wanted to sign the billion-year contract? Turns out, no, because a lot of parents like to donate their kids so that they get the financial incentives, so that they get the props from Debbie Cook, Marty, Rathbun, and Mike Rinder. Oh, you really are one of those parents that really did give us a kid. There's all kind of like little perks. Not official, you guys, not official, but all manner of like, oh, you're doing the right thing. You're really going to help us save the planet. Thank God that you're contributing. Anon, my biggest worry is my voice, but I know OSA doesn't know my voice, so they have to go around to hundreds of Scientology families showing recordings of my voice. Yeah, Anon, I mean, remaining anonymous is very challenging, you guys. It's very, very challenging. But, we get how hard it is to really go through this journey. So we understand that everybody's got their own journey to walk for themselves. And as long as we're advocating and being true to ourselves, and we need to figure out ways to cope, that's always available for everyone. So, oh yeah, no, and I see that you're saying that you're offering to help. Do me a favor and just write a comment in any of my videos so that I can set you up as a mod, because I don't have your contact info because you are super anonymous. So yeah, Osa, good luck trying to link him up, because He's not going to show up on my emails. I'm just going to make him a moderator here, and you can all figure it out who he is. Just keep bringing his voice to as many Scientology families. But you know what, Anon? Good news for you. OSA cannot do that easily because that's LPR for them. That's called Glutz PR, you guys. When you go with Glutz PR, you're showing them bad stuff. And remember, OSA is very pressed to make sure that, they don't want to really like rock the boat on anything. They want to keep everything not known. That's why shout out to all the people protesting outside. You're making their lives miserable. They cannot control, and they're really, they're really pressed right now. They're really, really pressed. I mean, if they have Scientologists spitting on people, that's how you know they're pressed AF. If the Scientologists are now the ones that are getting arrested, ouch. If the Scientologists are the ones that are spitting on people, and literally the people that are advocating for the victims are the bad guys, because we're being told that we are harassing them. But you know what? You are all harassing children. So in what world can you really pitch yourselves as the harassed victims when you have a whole scheme going on that nobody would know a shred of a thing about if left to the devices of all the senior executives that have really taken up on themselves to leave the hotel, walk out of that threshold, and all of a sudden never really give any information about the amount of kids implicated in the scheme, given that all of them are just as susceptible to the abuse now as we are when we were there. So that would be great for all of those executives to really take to heart, so they don't get all butthurt. Their feelings get, oh, I'm being attacked, you guys. I was in a cult. I don't know what it is. It's not personal. We don't give a shred of an F about you. It's what you did that is continuing to prop up whatever in the hell this scheme is. So quit playing dumb and quit playing the victim. You're not the victim when you're the felon. So let's put that clear. You're not the victim when you abducted kids and locked those passports in those rooms. Those are facts. I don't need someone to come and tell me that the law says you're not allowed to lock up my identification. Go check the trafficking laws real quick. All of you Scientology executives that no matter how many great attorneys you did hire for yourselves, in the physical universe, it seems like y'all didn't know what in the literal living hell was going on. Another super chat. Chemist, cover up Claire and no regrets Rinder. The kids grew up. Get ready. Literally, thank you for your super chat, Chemist. Serge, we're listening. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening, you guys. You have no idea how much we all appreciate it. And I speak to a lot of kids that were born in this, a lot of kids that, are still navigating very complicated situations for themselves, you guys. So we will be having more interviews. So stay tuned for that, because we're going to be bringing in more and more corroboration so that their stories can be heard, their pain can be acknowledged, they can be asking the questions that they need to ask for themselves, that they've been told they never deserve to ask, that they've been told that whatever in the hell happened, it sucks to be them and better luck next lifetime. So all of those kids that are talking to us will be coming to you, and all of your support and all of you showing up is making a big difference. Because again, when Scientology cut us off from them and the disconnection thing, it's like we lost all our community and all our people. And I've told you guys that it's like offing yourself alive. So when you do start connecting with community and you start getting back to that, then, things start changing for you. And, it is part of our healing journey to have people that validate our pain, that acknowledge what in the hell happened. So that's that. And then one other thing is like anyways, that's that. Kim White, keep doing what you're doing. We're here for it and support you all. Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much. That's oxygen and music to our ears. Thank you. Martha Simmons, Serge Deer, how did Mike Rinder conveniently fail to mention children were put in the RPF hole? Do tell. Spray more rose water, please. Something stinks. Oh, you guys. You know, the stench of the stink is almost really, truly nauseating. So let's keep spreading the rose water, you guys. Let's keep doing that. Cuddly Haggis, just loving the new mix of that beautiful search smile, spraying rose water, but really getting this sickening behavior explained. Totally agree about the hypocrites trying to be innocent. Much love from Scotland, sweet Serge. Well, thank you, Cuddly Haggins 716. I really appreciate you, and shout out to all the Scottish warriors, you guys. We got plenty of Scottish people that have been emailing and being so supportive, and yeah, very much like Braveheart. I feel like all of you guys are warriors, really showing up for this cause, which is really, really great. So thank you so much. Chemist, I use Mike Rinder bobbleheads to summon the old gods. Bahaha. Well, good, you guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the support. Stay tuned. We're going to be coming to you with more interviews, with more representation of all the kids that have been silenced. They all deserve a chance to tell their story, to speak their truth, to speak truth to power without fear of being, muzzled, without fear of repercussions. And yes, Osa, you should be having diarrhea on a minute-to-minute basis right about now, because the only reason you've been operating your office of illegal affairs is because apparently you've been helped. Apparently you're not being called out. All of Mike's proteges are not being called out, you guys. And he would know exactly who's implicated. He would know. You were a big, big boy back in the day, Mike. So you ran this organization for what, 4 decades plus, was it? From, what was it, 18 to 55, 53, 54? I don't know. Something like that. So you've had plenty of time to reconcile the receipts that aren't making a shred of sense. So today, in this year 2024, the receipts are starting to make sense as to what's missing, at least. We're only able to contextualize what we know, and we're only able to point out what you've already spoken about. So all of that info is out there now, and there's plenty more. There's literally plenty more, you guys. I don't have enough time in the day to literally, I think I'm going to go on a 12-hour live marathon with you guys to really finish this. And maybe if we spend 5 years going through everything, we will have all of it exposed. But it doesn't matter because, as they said, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was this scam 501c that was propped up. So every day we will continue tearing apart all the layers of PR and positioning that Mike Rinder was doing to really, what was it? Very kind experience about something about being kind. Oh yeah, it was at the crosshairs with the kinder, gentler public posture. So good. You did do good with that little pitch, Mike Rinder. You did come across as kind and gentle Papa Smurf. But you know what? This ain't about coming across and positioning and posturing. This is about answering real questions that deserve real answers, not just, I didn't know anything and I had no shred of a clue what in the hell's going on with anything at all. So that's what we are just saying, like scratching our heads, because you're insulting our intelligence at this point. You know, you've been given the benefit of the doubt for so long. We really did think that you were, onto something. I mean, you always came across very kind, very gentle, very, I wouldn't hurt a fly. But turns out that that was just part of this pitch that you were given by some great crisis manager that you literally paid how many hundreds of thousands of dollars to be your mentors on the outside world. So you were no ordinary Sea Org member, Mike Rinder. You weren't locked up with Arrested Development. Since you were out there with your little cell phone, with your little driver, and with your little slaves, slaving away for you so you could live it up and really purport you were some senior executive. So think about that when you really want to, posture things, because posturing ain't gonna work, ain't gonna cut it anymore. We're not children. You cannot sell us Little Red Riding Hood once upon a time. That's what not gonna work today. And we are calling out your enablers. We're calling out who laundered your image for you, who you had personal relationships, having done all the work there as a spokesperson and whatever, and you would think that the Tampa Bay Times would have understood how compromised their little subject was, you guys. That's part of reporters doing their due diligence. Reporters are not supposed to be scammed and schemed by the person they're reporting on. So if reporters are getting scammed and schemed and laundering the image of their, subject, then that's very shady AF. And since that's what we have on the record with the Tampa Bay Times pretty much just writing the truth rundown, and then, okay, you guys, oh yeah, let's write a piece about all this sham of real estate that we really did buy. And Tampa really needs to know about real estate transactions, because we are very, very serious paper here at the Tampa Bay Times. Very, very serious we are. And all we care about is executives, David, and buildings. And before you go, you guys, but Serge, you said, we've talked to the Tampa Bay Times, you guys. There's no appetite by their actions to investigate a shred of thing. There's no appetite for them to have skin in the game themselves, for them to dig in to the story. That's your job, to investigate. If you're going to investigate something, Thomas C. Tobin, you got to use your head. You got to use your wit. You got to literally have a brain to investigate. If you don't have a brain, then you're shit out of luck. You cannot do your job. To investigate, it requires you being very, very smart, not easily duped, and crafty AF, so that you can have your own evidence that you procure instead of just regurgitated whatever in the hell I'm being told, and then quickly make some money, and then quickly take yourself to the Bahamas and sip your little pina colada at the beach and have a jolly old time and just, la, 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 la. Tampa Bay Times is a great place for everyone to come. We're such a friendly city. Go to Clearwater downtown and, have a jolly old time for yourself as you can sit outside of those hotels. And now everyone knows what is the hell going on inside of those hotels. And yes, the adults, now we know we cannot save Sebastian. Now we MF know, you guys. You have seen the receipts. You have seen all of the efforts that have been done and made to make that happen. But adults cannot be saved from a problem they are implicating themselves in. They have to want to be saved. They have to want to walk out, just like we did, just like Laura FM did, just like Nora did, just like Liz Ferris did, just like Liz Gale did, just like all of us had to do. Yes, it was hard. Yes, it was horrible. Yes, it was scary AF. But you know what? We turned 21 and we wanted the hell out of those disgusting motels and hotels. So that's why in the hell we're out. So everyone that wants to walk out of the hotel can walk out, you guys. They can walk out, except they have no incentive to walk out because they're still being cradled and canoodled in society with this idea that they haven't done anything wrong and they can believe in whatever's the new story, and they couldn't be more, goody two-shoes, really wanting to have a lot of religious experiences for themselves, when we know that that is not what is going to take place in the hotel. And yes, we are getting more receipts of more minors exposed because we're not seeing those yet in the videos from Street LA and from all the guys that are out there. We're seeing them targeting them, but we haven't seen them actually get stuck in there. But going back to the point is, every Scientology parent that has kids exposes their kids to the scourge of what in the hell they are into themselves. Indefensible. We would know, and now you all know that it's indefensible. This isn't our opinion. This isn't us really wanting to have an opinion that supersedes them. We know where kids end up. We know the rules of engagement set forth by L. Ron Hubbard, set forth by a man that prohibited all his proteges from altering a shred of a thing. So start defending yourselves. Start making a shred of sense. Because today we've had a very wonderful, supportive audience that has listened. And I think every day we have more questions than answers. And as long as we have questions that aren't getting answered, we're going to keep asking the question and repeat the question. Just like you taught us at the hotel. When you're investigating, you guys, you have to ask the same damn question 1,000,000 times until you start getting to the truth. You have to carve it out of these people. You have to rip it out. But whatever it takes, if we have to grab a jackhammer to their head and drill it out, it will come. It will come. Y'all's day will come, facing the scrutiny you've all been avoiding by sanitizing every last shred of detail. Also, you could have your little white picket fence and your little glorified delusion about how all that we heard about how David Miscavige is the only one and he couldn't be more out of his mind in a terror cloth, beating people up, climbing on tables, allegedly, is all about. I thank you guys so much for watching, and I have a lot of great stuff coming very, very soon. So thank you all, and see you very, very shortly. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.